Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I have somebody behind me that I have to watch for. Yeah, there's somebody behind me. You can't see her, but she's there. So I might have to interrupt the stream. I'll let something play for a second while I go deal with her, if need be. Maybe she'll be good today. Maybe she'll be good. And you know what? Maybe when she finally fully falls asleep, I'll put her in her crib. In fact, I should probably do that and just grab the baby monitor. That would probably be much better. But we'll see. She's still awake. She's just kind of swaying back and forth, fighting sleep with everything in her. Anyway, okay. Let's see. I wanted to cover... I feel like I had something I was going to cover yesterday, or finish covering. Was it? Oh, Greg Locke's sermon, right, where he said he was raided by the FBI. What's this?
Joe Biden as just a pawn that they could push around and do. I've always believed that Obama has been, basically, he has violated the Constitution because he's served
the Lieutenant Dan podcast. Lieutenant, he's not a lieutenant. He's a lieutenant governor. He's like a vice president of Texas, not a lieutenant. Is that stolen valor? That feels like stolen valor to me. Actually, let me look it up just to see. I'll find out. That's definitely stolen valor if he wasn't an actual lieutenant.
third term. I think he was behind the entire administration, or at least his people were, with his guidance. It's clear
that is psychotic.
That they used.
And why is there an empty chair here? Why is he sitting?
You were
used.
Why is he sitting at an empty
that
table?
Pizzagate conspiracy theory era. Do you now regret that?
Well, for one, I never said that it was true.
Comet Pizza. Here we go.
There it is. Comet Pizza. Comet Pizza's right there. All right, Roosh has already dialed 9 and 1, and then he's ready to dial the last one. So he's all set for me.
Did you ever promote it?
No.
Never.
Wow.
No.
You can see the symbol. Remember the symbol on the FBI list. Do you think this is a good idea or what?
Are we gonna survive this trip?
Do you think we're gonna? I don't know.
Should we even eat the pizza?
Do you think the supermoon affects what's going on?
With the satanic rituals.
It could. Their powers could be at their highest.
We went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop.
What a piece of shit, dude. This needs to be its own video. Jack Posobiec apparently went on Piers Morgan and flat out lied, pretended he didn't promote the QAnon conspiracy theory Pizzagate. And somebody spliced this together into 2 clips proving him to be a liar. This is mind-blowing to me. How can people be like this? How can they justify this shit to themselves? By the way, if you don't know By the way, if you don't know Jack Posobiec, he is Charlie Kirk's co-host on Charlie Kirk's podcast, the Turning Points USA podcast or whatever. He also, I suspect, runs the account End Wokeness on the Twit. You know, this right-wing extremist nutcase account. Anyway, let's give this a listen.
And I've said that from the very start.
Sorry, step back here.
Their powers could be at their highest.
We went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop.
This is so fucked up.
And I've said that from the very start.
Okay, so it's like a secret door to get into the bathroom. See that? It's like there's 2 doors here, but you couldn't really tell normally. That there.
I understand that to you this is maybe like a game, but considering that I myself and my staff receive death threats,
It's not a game. Well, you're throwing me out.
I am because you are aiding a dangerous environment.
Jack, hold on a second, Jack. So what you're saying on live television is you have never ever in your entire career promoted the Pizzagate conspiracy. Is that what you're saying on television?
I am saying the exact same thing that I have said since day number one, and I compared it to Iraq WMDs.
He's such a fucking liar, dude. That is disgusting. For the record, if you don't know the history here, QAnon didn't actually exist until Pizzagate. In fact, QAnon arose from the ashes of Pizzagate. You know, Pizzagate, for any Zoomers or even Alpha people in here, Pizzagate was this event where they claimed that they were trafficking children out of Comet Pizza and Ping Pong. And it all started because Trump asked Russia to get Hillary Clinton's 30,000 emails, her private personal emails that she just like deleted from her personal email server that nobody had a right to, but Republicans made a big deal out of, like they do have a right to a private citizen's email account. She deleted them because she was perfectly within her rights to do so. They were her fucking emails. And Trump said, Russia, if you're listening, I would love to see what was in those emails. So Russia hacked Anthony Podesta, her campaign chair. They did a spear phishing attack on him where they got his login information for his Gmail account. And they found a bunch of emails between him and Hillary Clinton about just normal shit, like going to the pizza place or whatever. And QAnon adjacent people, before QAnon existed, spun that into, oh my God, pizza, CP, cheese pizza? They're talking about trafficking children right now, when it was literally just about getting pizza. So anyway, that's the origin of it, and it was so ginormagantuan that everybody was talking about it. Like, all of the influencers were promoting it because it was the latest culture war issue that they could benefit from. And it led to a climax where a guy actually showed up with an AR-15 and entered the store and held people at gunpoint until they released the children from the basement that didn't exist. That's when the media really started cracking down on how much of a conspiracy theory this was and how damaging and harmful it was. QAnon adjacent people were even passing around pictures of the staff members' children, just like, you know, the waiter's kid, and saying this is one of the trafficked children. It was fucking vile. And this piece of shit right here on the left was promoting it. And you can't convince me for a second he believed it was real. He did not believe it was real.
And what does that mean?
Well, what do you think? It means they were fake.
So I am putting out the call right now, guys. James O'Keefe, we need you in here.
James O'Keefe was the head of, oh my God, Project Veritas, and he was like a Republican rage-baiting shit starter who is like TMZ for Republicans, where he would go into like left-leaning spaces and claim that like abortions were happening in just like random buildings or whatever. It was fucking insane and vile.
I'm gonna need your help on this one, man. This is an operation that suddenly just got a little bit bigger than just myself. I've been burned. George has been burned. They know what we look like. We need people in here at a higher level. We need to recruit sub-sources to go in here with hidden cameras, because we saw
There was a back room.
a secret back room.
People were going in and out of there. There was music. There were kids, little
There
kids
were little
around.
kids going in and out of the
Fucking disgusting, dude. Being willing to do this, seriously, this is the lowest of the low.
back room.
Apparently, you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected. That was just days before a gunman targeted the restaurant.
Congratulations, Jack.
The threat level here is much higher than I thought it would be. The stuff that was going on is much worse than I thought it would be. And we're dealing with some high level stuff here, guys. We're doing some very high level stuff.
Is it just me, or is this dude ugly as sin? I'm sorry. I don't feel like talking about people's looks is usually that productive. But there's just something very unsettling about the way he looks. Is that kid sleeping? Oh, she's knocked out like a fucking light. Zonked the fuck out. She's out of it, dude. I am actually considering getting the baby monitor and putting her in her room. I'm going to give her about 20 more minutes, because then she's going to be in deep sleep. Have a bottle ready and everything. She's good to go. So I'm going to move her up to her room in about 20 minutes. And hypothetically, she should sleep clear through the stream. Possibly.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall that.
Welcome, Ghost Toast 69420. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. He's looking here. Welcome, Lord Fonzie and Kitty Mom. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Genuinely. All right. OMG, how cute. I know, right? I don't know. She's out of it. She's completely fucking out of it. Okay, let's continue. Actually, I'm going to grab this video. Let's keep listening.
We're doing some very high level stuff.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall that. That's on my Twitter?
You can't both There are people here that have a lot of interests and a lot of money. So they have a big secret that they are trying to hide, and a big secret that they are trying to keep under wraps, because it could potentially blow the lid on Hillary Clinton.
Dude,
on
what?
John
I don't know what the fuck's going on with my keyboard right now, but it's like only working half the time I click buttons. All right, let me step back.
That they are trying to hide, and a big secret that they are trying to keep under wraps, because it could potentially blow the lid on Hillary Clinton, on John Podesta, on Tony Podesta.
It was an idea that I had to try to reach out to people who were wondering about this on the internet, to just go there, order.
Yeah, right, totally. Go there and order pizza. Wow, he's admitting that he actually went there at least now.
Some food, sit down with a friend, and show them it was a regular spot.
What a piece of shit, dude, genuinely.
Guys, honestly,
Just want some damn pizza.
I was not sold on the Comet Pizza theory before this.
And then you start seeing kids, you start seeing back rooms and shit.
The kids and the back rooms.
And I'm being honest. That's why I went there. That's why I went in, to show people that it was a regular place.
This was crazy. This was really weird. This was really, really weird. Yeah, this was like next level stuff.
What an absolute piece of shit. Like, sometimes I really wish that there was a place where people would suffer the consequences of their actions, like Donald Trump, like Hitler, like Jack Posobiec. I really wish that there was a place where people would pay for the shit that they do to people. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This dude is vile. And if you want to see the whole thing, I'm going to be watching the whole episode of Piers Morgan on my Unfiltered channel. Check it out. Owen Unfiltered. That is genuinely fucking vile, though, dude. All right, I'm processing this, downloading and everything. Let me find that Piers Morgan video. Oh yeah, and I got a new cleaned up voice model that I wanted to test out here. Hang on, let's see. Where is it? Where did I put it? Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the right file. Here it is. Let's see how it sounds. This is from a brand new model that I just trained myself.
The war had come to Golgotha at last, and the great city that had ruled 1,000 worlds burned from its lowest undertowns to the gleaming spires of the imperial court. Owen Deathstalker walked through the smoke and the falling ash with a sword in his hand and a weariness in his heart that no victory could ever lift. He had not asked to be a hero. He had asked only to be left alone.
By the way,
the war had come.
It's not talking about Owen Morgan. It's talking about Owen Deathstalker from my favorite book series. It's just an excerpt. Actually, it's barely an excerpt.
Back through the centuries. But history, he had learned, did not care what a man wanted. It simply took him and used him and left him standing in the ruins of everything he had tried to save. Hazel Dark found him there at the foot of the shattered steps, and she was not gentle about it. "You're bleeding," she said. "Again. You know, for a man who's supposed to be the greatest warrior in the Empire, you spend an awful lot of time getting hit." "I've noticed that too," Owen admitted.
It sounds like it's not perfect around dialogue. It struggles with dialogue. That's probably because I didn't have much dialogue to train it on originally.
"I keep meaning to work on it." "Don't joke. Not now."
Yeah, it's not very good with dialogue.
She knelt beside him, and for a moment the hardness went out of her face. "We won, Owen. Do you understand that? It's over. The Iron Bitch is dead, the court is ours, and there's no one left to fight." He looked at her, and then past her, at the fire still climbing into the black and starless sky. "There's always someone left to fight," he said quietly. "That's the one thing my family understood. You never really win. You only survive long enough to see the next war coming." For a long time, neither of them spoke. The city groaned and settled around them, and somewhere in the distance a bell was ringing, tolling out across the dead and the dying, counting a cost that could never cruelly be paid. And Owen Deathstalker, scholar and rebel and reluctant lord of a broken empire, closed his eyes and listened, and thought of home, and knew that he would never see it again. When at last he rose, he took Hazel's hand, and together they walked back into the ruined city, to do the only thing that was ever really left to do, to go on and to endure, and to build something better out of the ashes, no matter how long it took, no matter what it cost.
That's pretty good. I think that was really good. That was really good quality. The dialogues, it definitely struggled with dialogue. But I thought that was top tier overall. She's still knocked out. I'm thinking I'm going to bring her to her crib in a minute. Anyway, you know, since I'm actually gonna run a book through it now and see how it comes out. All right, let's find this. This is Posobiec and Piers Morgan. What was that? Ken Ham meltdown. Oh, I talked about that. Debating a gay pastor. What's this?
What is a woman?
What's a woman? I think you can see that in a number of different ways. Tell me what Jesus said about homosexuality.
Yeah, he didn't address it one time. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. It's like me looking at you saying, did Jesus address Grand Theft Auto as a sin? I'd be like, he did.
Yeah, but Grand Theft Auto didn't exist back then. Being gay did. So...
But he addressed theft and sexual immorality, and both of those subjects are an overhead that encompass a lot of different things.
Yeah, the problem is that the idea that being gay is wrong wasn't really part of the understanding of the Bible or certainly not the understanding of Christianity, until the 1800s when the Schofield Reference Bible came out, and they translated words in specific ways that shouldn't have been translated that way. Now, modern pastors have Romans and one of the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians maybe, and one of the Timothys to fall back on to hate gay people because of the Schofield Reference Bible, because they translated it that way. Okay, Hell World. I'm going to TTS this book, but I actually think I have work to do on this model. I don't think it's the final version of the model. No, it's not the final version. I was just thinking maybe I should wait to TTS this since it's not the final version, but that's okay. I can TTS it. I think I know exactly how I'm going to make... Yeah, I know exactly how I'm going to do it to make the new model work best. All right. Book is now TTSing. What's this? Oh, this is the headlining... This is the headlining one. From one day ago. Oh, yeah. Let's get this. I don't like giving Piers Morgan attention or views because he's such a colossal fucking scumbag. Just like a bad person. You know what? Wait. Before I download it, let me just see if I need to trim it at all. Does it need to be trimmed?
You are part.
Managed to find some higher corporate and wedded.
I don't think so. I think it's okay. Yeah, it's
subscribe
fine. It's good. All right, gonna grab this. Now let's watch this. Jump to the beginning. Where does it actually start, though?
Disastrous Iran.
Okay. Piers Morgan had Jack Posobiec on, and it went badly. Oh my God, dude. Let's listen.
An entire political movement in real time that is eating itself.
I've been called a 24-karat gold fuckwit before. If you don't like my show, then don't watch. Right? If you don't like the interview, then don't watch.
Charlie Kirk.
Well, I mean, that's not how it works. Obviously, you're affecting the world around me with your stupid Nazi garbage. You know, when you say black people are inferior to white people, I'm not saying that this dude says that. I don't even know who that guy is. I'm just giving an example of something that affects me directly. When you say black people are inferior to white people and that women should not have the right to vote, that shit affects me. Now, do you have the right to say it? Absolutely. And do I have a right to complain about it? Yes. Free fucking speech. Anyway, these people, they don't seem to get the most basic concepts. Or they do get it, and they just want to complain because they want to be viewed as victims. Because they're just being mistreated and taken advantage of and everything else.
Played a massive role in returning Trump to the presidency, not least by energizing young people. With pyrotechnics, star-studded lineups and swashbuckling debates, he helped to create the idea that Republicans were cool again. They were the movement on the rise. The Democrats were tired, corporate, and wedded to woke causes, which even they were sick of. As we'll debate shortly, it's not yet obvious that the Democrats have anything like that kind of momentum or any standout leaders that people of all persuasions can rally behind. What's also now clear is that Charlie Kirk did a lot of heavy lifting in holding the Trump coalition together. He famously invited all factions to his Turning Point events, where they usually managed to find some common ground. Whether that common ground would have survived the disastrous Iran war and the president calling his own supporters stupid, weak and gullible over Epstein, we will sadly never know. Even Charlie Kirk's own death is proving stubbornly divisive. Last week, Tyler Robinson, his alleged killer, appeared in court as the case against him was laid out in detail for the first time across 5 days of hearings. The courtroom was expected to be open throughout the case as a rebuttal to the many conspiracy theories about his murder. But for some people, that won't be enough. We seem to be in an era of permanent mistrust. If you get your news exclusively from social media, as many do now, you probably think Senator Lindsey Graham was killed by either the Russians, the Iranians, or the Israelis.
Yeah, this isn't an era of mistrust simply because people distrust the government right now. This era of mistrust is manufactured, though. It's manufactured by the people Piers Morgan is having on his show right now. Like Jack Posobiec, for example. If Jack Posobiec left politics behind and went and drank margaritas in... where the fuck do people drink those? Margaritaville? If he went and did that, there would be less conspiracy theory in the United States, in the world. There would be fewer conspiracies.
In Britain this week, the appalling murder of legendary Conservative MP Anne Widdecombe has been turned into a true crime mystery by some of the politicians in her own party. All of this amounts to a sorry state of suspicion and division, which is crying out for sane, common sense leadership. And whichever direction I turn right now, it seems to be, frankly, in very short supply. Well, joining us now is Jack Posobiec, Senior Editor at Human Events, who's here actually in London. First time we've ever met in person.
Thank
Jack,
you so much,
welcome
Piers.
to my great city.
Oh, I came here to see you.
The capital of the world and the greatest country in the world. It's great to welcome you.
I'm not so sure if I agree with all of that, Piers, but happy to be here.
It's good to see you. Brandon Tatum, a.k.a. the Officer Tatum. Wajahat Ali, the co-host.
Wait, Tatum. Isn't he a fucking nutcase? I feel like he is. I don't remember specifically.
Host of Democracy-ish. And Brian Tyler Cohen, author of a new book, The Day After, How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. Well, welcome to all of you. A stellar panel, as always. Let me start with you, Jack, as you're here with me in London. This whole Charlie Kirk, it's a tragedy about what happened. Let's start with what happened to him. An absolutely tragic, appalling murder of a guy who went out of his way to try and bring people together to have free and open debate.
Please, that is not what Charlie Kirk was about. It simply wasn't. That's what he wanted people to think he was about. He was about racism and hatred and vitriol and dividing people. He was not about open debate. If he were really about open debate, why did he avoid debating certain specific people? He would never debate people on the left who knew what they were doing, who knew what they were talking about. It was always only ever college students who were, walking by and saw him and decided to do this on the spot. It was never about open debate. She's stirring. Okay, let's continue.
Democracy. And it's despicable what happened to him. But what's also despicable to me, I'll be completely honest about this, is the raging, often ludicrous conspiracy theories that erupted almost from the moment he was killed and have continued to be fermented across the airwaves by people who, frankly, I think not only should know better, but do know better, but see a financial incentive in whipping all this stuff up. And all these conspiracy theories in the last week, and you were there in court, look to me like they've been comprehensively dismantled. This was exactly what it looked like.
Yes, I agree. I don't think that there's a conspiracy to be found here. I think he was killed by Tyler Robinson, plain and simple. And I think that... And Tyler Robinson was not a right-winger, to my understanding. It wasn't really a left-winger exactly either. It was more of violent, nihilist extremism. That's what the FBI said.
This guy killed Charlie Kirk because he wanted to kill him. And we know that because his flatmate has confirmed all that. And we know that from all the other evidence that came out. Am I missing anything? Is there any great grand conspiracy of the kind that have been spewed out by, I'll say, the leading protagonist, Candace Owens, who has gone after Erica Kirk in a way that I find really appalling. But I also think whipping up all these ridiculous theories, surely now, when confronted by what we've seen in court, it is a time to reflect on what are we doing as a society?
Right? Thank you. Yeah, Jack Posobiec is responsible for the environment we live in. However, he is the target of these conspiracy theories right now. He is being blamed for Charlie Kirk's death. People are saying that he was in on it or whatever the fuck. Wildly.
When a young husband and father gets brutally murdered like this, and we turn it into effectively a clickbaiting entertainment empire that can make vast sums of money spewing conspiracies which are obviously bullshit.
Well, Piers, thank you for your kind words about Charlie and even about Turning Point at the top of this. And I agree with you that Charlie was a generational talent. By the way, I should also...
Oh my fucking God, dude. Please. Stop fluffing the dude. He's gone, okay? Just get to the fucking point.
So say
he was a race-baiting, hateful sack of shit. Somebody that studies World War II extensively. Works in the archives, okay? I've worked in archives. I've done it all. I work with experts in this field. I have written 2 books on this subject. As somebody who has worked extensively in World War II studies, I can tell you people like Charlie Kirk existed back then too. Julius Streicher is one good example. The head of the not the Völkischer Beobachter, the head of Der Stürmer, the Nazi-aligned newspaper that would lie and make shit up about Jews because they just didn't fucking like them. The guy who literally got people killed through, what's the term? Through stochastic terrorism. That's the type of person Charlie Kirk was. That's the type of shit that he talked about and he did. And that's what he was responsible for. He was a scumbag, Charlie Kirk was. I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept this fucking rewriting of his history. He was a piece of shit, just like just like Jack Posobiec. Just vile, disgusting garbage. Constant.
Absolutely praying for Ann Widdecombe. This situation seems absolutely horrific. I've been following it since I've been here.
I have no fucking clue who that is or why I should give a shit about it.
The counter-terrorism police have got involved now. And
apparently there's just some breaking news
today. They found stuff which suggests that this person may have been motivated for political reasons.
And to me, it almost
drive
seems
300 miles to go and kill a woman nearly 80.
Well, and the same way that we learned in court last week that Tyler Robinson drove 3 hours to get to the campus. They have his cell phone data. They have the data from his car systems. They have obviously videotape and surveillance tape.
I would be surprised if it wasn't Tyler Robinson, genuinely. It's really far-fetched to me to think that it's not.
That's going out.
Who would it be? It would be this massive conspiracy that not only Jack Posobiec would have to be involved in, but the FBI, the Trump administration, multiple governments would have to be involved in some way, covering this up, lying about this. It's just far-fetched. She's awake. I'm gonna let this play for a minute. I'm gonna put a marker in. Oh. I'm gonna move her up to her room, and I might have to sit with her for a minute to let her, because I think I'm waking her up. Let's see, 5:10. She should be straight tuckered out right now, so she should go right to sleep, hypothetically. Hope they don't say any slurs while I'm gone. All right, I'll be right back.
Surveillance tape that's gone out, and so I can't help but worry that perhaps it's this same type of political hatred, this idea that we should use violence rather than words, which is what Charlie always stood for, that we saw with Charlie's murder has now come to the UK in this case.
Right. I want to play a clip from Candace Owens, who came back from a break this week and said this.
There is a seemingly infinite number of influencers on social media who watched the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing last week, and they reported back to us common folk that they came away from it and they were effectively drowning. They were submerged. They were engulfed. They were completely buried by the avalanche of undeniable evidence that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean, they were so consumed that they all just began using that exact same adjective to express themselves. It is overwhelming. In fact, that has really been the key word since last year, right? It is the new wear a mask, save lives, 6 feet social distancing. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming.
I mean, the problem with Jaha is the evidence against him is overwhelming. I mean, Jack himself was in court, as he said. He posted yesterday the moment Lance Twiggs, who was the partner of Tyler Robinson, agreed to testify against his boyfriend. The defense was sunk. Twiggs didn't provide an alibi or say the rifle had been stolen. Instead, he confirmed that Tyler Robinson confessed to killing Charlie Kirk, along with other key details of the plot. And I know, Officer Tatum, you were there too, and I'll come to you about this. But what do we do about this with Jarhat? Because I've watched this play out since Charlie Kirk was murdered, and it's awful. It's awful. It's awful to see a widow, Erica Kirk, whatever people may think of her, to see her targeted in such a heartless, cruel manner. I just think is horrendous. What are we doing here as a society?
What you're witnessing is political cannibalism, and what you're witnessing is the end result of a political movement that is born off of and fueled by anger, rage, conspiracy theory, and lies. It eventually turns on itself. I want to remind everyone, because I have the receipts, that after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, before there was any evidence, before there was anyone who was arrested, Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and the entire right wing blamed the radical left. This was the time during they unleashed the National Guard and ICE against American people and were trying to gin up a case to attack anyone who opposes Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Then what happened? Kash Patel, who is the completely unqualified leader of the FBI, completely messed up, had no leads whatsoever. We actually had the FBI say we have no leads whatsoever. Tyler Robinson turned himself in, according to what we know, because a family member said, turn yourself in. So the only suspect that we actually have is Tyler Robinson. The conspiracy theories that have come out, the ugly conspiracy theories that you've talked about, have only come out from the right wing. In particular, but not exclusively, Candace Owens has profited off it, coming up with these insane conspiracy theories, also anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about, another shooter or perhaps Israel and other individuals, and they don't believe the case itself. And I'm looking at it and say, it looks to me like most likely Tyler Robinson was radicalized. Here is a white man with a gun. He had his own grievance, and he shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And now, from the evidence that we've seen in the past week, his roommate said that Charlie Kirk Tyler Robinson broke down crying, admitting that he killed Charlie Kirk. So this is an entire political movement in real time that is eating itself. Candace Owens came from MAGA. MAGA is now turning on MAGA. And now if there's any self-reflection and any decency, which there isn't, they would sit back and say, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't have spread these insane conspiracy theories. Maybe we should not have talked about, QAnon. Maybe we should not have promoted Stop the Steal movement. Maybe we should not have promoted replacement theory. Maybe we should not have said that all law enforcement are part of the enemy of the state. Jack, you became famous promoting these theories, these conspiracies, these lies.
So do you mean like when? So I noticed you left out that Jimmy Kimmel said that you mentioned me. You forgot to mention that Jimmy Kimmel went on nighttime TV and said that it was a MAGA supporter who killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is a member of the right. I know. I also remember that there were a lot. No. I'll let you talk. Now you brought me up. I'm going to respond.
Be a man, Jack.
I also saw that there were many people saying that it was a Roy.
Don't talk over each other. Let him reply. Let him reply.
There was a Roy.
There were people who claimed it was a Roy.
Let him reply.
There were people who claimed it was
Let him reply with Jahed, then you can reply to him. Support for Uncensored comes from Dose for Cholesterol, a simple and reliable way to take control of your own health. Cholesterol can be an issue for many people, some for lifestyle reasons and sometimes just bad luck. But you can get ahead of it. Dose for cholesterol is extremely convenient. Just a small daily shot which tastes like mango. No pills and no powders. It uses naturally occurring ingredients like turmeric, so you know that you're not putting chemical garbage into your body. This is a way to take more control of your own health, which could help you delay the more intense conventional remedies. They'll send it straight to your door for zero hassle. New customers can save 35% on your first month subscription by going to dosedaily.co/peers or simply entering peers at checkout. That's dosedaily.co/peers for 35% off your first month subscription.
There were also people who falsely claimed that it was a groyper, that it was a member of the right. Jimmy Kimmel spread that on nighttime news. This was big news. There was a huge push about it. There were headlines about it. We debated on the show. I don't remember if you're on that exact panel, but I watch every single episode of Pierce, so I saw it. I mean, this was huge news. So to say that none of that happened, also notice that you seem to have skipped over the radical left, which we now know absolutely was responsible for this. And we even knew that before we had the identification of Tyler Robinson because we had the etchings on the bullets. Hey, fascist, catch. Bella Ciao, the Antifa anthem. All of that evidence was out there, but you seem to have missed it.
Yeah, so you're literally doing what I accused you of doing, so thank you for proving.
Following the evidence? Thank you, yes.
Jack, listen, be a man, have the courage of your convictions.
The courage of following the evidence?
10 toes down, Jack.
Reading the evidence
is what you have
where
created.
It lies?
Wait, just let me finish. This is the movement that you have created, and this is the movement now that is eating itself. The movement that
you are part of killed Charlie.
Just let me finish, Jack. I let you say what you had to say.
Charlie
I'm almost
Kirk.
done. Listen,
that's the left.
Candace Owens is not a member of the radical left. Candace Owens is a member of MAGA.
The radical left murdered Charlie Kirk.
And the attack against Turning Point and Erica Kirk,
a guy
this
in a
fissure
trans relationship with Antifa etchings on the bullets murdered
Jack, all
Charlie
I'm going to say
Kirk.
is this. Let me
That's
finish.
all the evidence
and
in
then
court.
You can move on.
That's the court evidence.
There's a great quote from
That's murder, and you don't seem to care. You don't seem to care that Charlie was killed. There's an MP who's killed in the UK right now. It seems to be targeted.
You're not letting me speak.
You're blaming me. You seem more upset about me simply being here talking than people who agree with your politics murdering people, one at a campus, one in her own kitchen.
Jack, just let me finish. I did not interrupt you. You seem like you're telling
yourself. You literally interrupted me so much that Piers had to step in.
All right. There's a great line from Godzilla. Ken Watanabe character says, "Let them fight." And I, for one, am fine with MAGA eating himself over this horrific issue. And I say, Pierce,
then you seem like you're fine with your guys killing us.
Let the investigation play itself out.
I don't hear you have 1 minute of time to say, you know what, both sides should not be violent. Could you at least say that?
I'm perfectly fine condemning violent extremism on all sides. I've done it on Pierce's show for 2.5 years.
What was the motive
of
Charlie
And the number
Kirk's
one
killer?
Domestic terror threat in America right now for the past 20 years is, you want to take a guess? White supremacist terrorism.
What was the motive of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer? What's the motive? Just answer the question.
You tell me. What's the motive? You tell me, Jack.
I just did many times.
Interesting.
All right, let me bring in the others. You've been waiting patiently. Let me bring in Brandon Tatum, a.k.a. the Officer Tatum. You've also been in court. You posted day 4 of Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing changed everything. The courtroom saw the text, the note, the rifle, the DNA, and Lance Twiggs' interview. The conspiracy theories didn't survive the evidence. I mean, look, there seems to be a reluctance by many people on the conservative right in America, whether they're fearful of her or I don't know what it is, but it seems to be pretty cowardly to just outright call out Candace for what she's been doing, right? What we've seen in the last week in court from the evidence that was produced is that all this conspiracy flying is bullshit, and she's been making a ton of money doing it. It's no different in my eyes to what Alex Jones did with InfoWars about Sandy Hook, right? Peddling deliberate lies for cash. Now, I'm already in a bet with Candace for charity of $300,000 about whether Brigitte Macron is a man. And the Macrons are suing her, and we're going to get to the bottom of that. And guess what they're going to find? She's a woman because she had 3 kids. And I doubt Candace will pay me. She'll go on a rant about endless conspiracy theories involving everyone involved in the court case. And she won't accept it, in other words. She never accepts anything. She just wants to peddle these conspiracy theories and doesn't seem to care to me, Brandon, about whether actual people who are grieving, like Erica Kirk, get deeply wounded in the process of all this. And again, I ask you the same question. I mean, would you condemn Candace Owens for what she's been doing?
Yeah, I think that's an easy condemnation. I condemn anything that Candace is saying that is wrong. you know, I know her personally, and me and her are supposed to have a conversation here soon about what's going on, because I think that I think it'll be beneficial for her to be educated on what the truth is, how these processes work, how investigations work, how DNA evidence works. And as a person who know her personally, I think it's invaluable for me and others who know her to have a conversation with her. You know, I don't think that it's conducive to get out and scream her name every single day on social media. Erica's not doing it. Turning Point is not doing it. Charlie never did it, even though he disagreed with many things that Candace said. I think it is important that we attack what is being said 100%. It is lies. I think the things that are being said are evil, they're hurtful, they're counterproductive to Charlie Kirk's legacy, who he was as a man and what he stands for. And I condemn anybody that's out here peddling lies when we have evidence that's unequivocal that came out in court in the preliminary hearing. It's going to be even worse if they go to trial. There's going to be even more evidence. There's going to be more witnesses. And so and the gentleman that's, I guess next to me, I don't know if the audience is seeing it the way I'm seeing it, but what a complete fool to sit and gloat and have your opportunity to say, well, I'm excited that the MAGA is fighting each other on the back of Charlie, who was assassinated for just being a man who spoke the truth. He was a good man. He was a good father. I knew him personally. And it's a shame that we can't sit here and just condemn hatred. We have to go and point that it's MAGA, it's not MAGA. That's foolery. This man lost his life representing what America stands for, and that is the freedom of speech. He would voluntarily, people came to debate him on campus. He never was belligerent with people. He didn't get violent with people. He gave people opportunities to speak. And a leftist nut job that followed this anti-Trump hatred towards Christians and conservatives is the one that took his life in callous with no remorse.
Okay.
And so don't give me that crap about MAGA. The left is the most violent group of people in this country. They tried to kill the president multiple times. They killed Charlie. They've tried to kill Congress members. These people are threatening my life, Jack Posovic's life. I mean, we got letters in the mail from these nut jobs claiming to kill us. You cannot name a single instance in recent history where conservatives are doing the exact same thing, targeting and killing a Democrat. Name one.
Well, I would say, I would say that it is provable that in this century, that for the overwhelmingly large part of this century, most of the political violence in America has come from the right. I mean, that's inarguable statistically. I would couch it by saying, I think there's been a turnaround in the last 2 years, I think was the last thing I read. And for the first time, actually, this century, you're seeing it skewing slightly to the left now. So this is the problem on both sides. Why don't we just be intellectually honest about it? So we bring in Brian Tyler Cohen. This is a problem on both sides. Radicalized people to the left and right who think that the answer to disagreeing with people is to kill them, right? And we're seeing the same thing in the UK. Anne Widdecombe is the third politician who's been murdered in the last 12 years in the UK. The third, right? And it is for their political beliefs. They're getting killed. It's like the most appalling form of terrorism you can imagine, right? These are politicians representing constituents. And whether it's Charlie Kirk in America, a political figure, or actual politicians in the UK, all the presidents you've had who've been shot and assassinated and survived assassinations and so on. This has been going on since I was born. You know, I was born in 1965, and you had JFK murdered just before me, then his brother, then Martin Luther King, and so on. Trump's only been killed several times. So let's not pretend it's just the left or the right. It's not. But let's come back to Charlie Kirk, because what you're seeing immediately, you're seeing with Lindsey Graham, for example, who, from what the accounts I've read, almost certainly has died of a heart-related condition, which came on very suddenly and can kill you very quickly. But I'm also reading endless conspiracy theories being aired that this was Russia, it was Iran, it was Israel. You know, Trump has been asked about it. He said this.
Look, the Russians have a habit of poisoning people they don't like. And Lindsey Graham once called for Putin to be, taken out. You have any suspicions or worries? Do you think we know the whole story about his death?
I don't think, just to answer the conspiracy theory, I don't know. I'd love to say yes, but I think he had some problems, and very, very.
I might have to go back up and get her. I just made food, and I was waiting for her to go to sleep before I came back in, but she hasn't, so I might go back up, get her, put her back in the rocker. Because she was pretty chill while in the rocker. I just realized I forgot to get a drink. All right, one more second. I'll be right back.
Difficult. And his father died just about at the same age from, you know, I'm a believer in the racehorse theory. You know, if you have problems, you have problems. And he had some problems that were a little bit deep-seated and not easy to find.
So, Brian, what's your view of all this? Yeah, let's have an honest conversation about this.
I mean, in terms of conspiracy theories surrounding Lindsey Graham's death, is that what you're asking?
I would say that we got the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories being peddled ever since he was murdered. You've now got the same thing happening with Lindsey Graham, where people a lot of people don't want to believe officialdom at all. Trust has never been lower, I think, in officialdom. But you've also got, I think, bad actors out there now who deliberately peddle this stuff to make money online. And they do it aggressively and they make millions.
Yeah, and I think conspiracy theories are the currency of the internet right now. And I think Waj brought up a great point, which is that we have a panelist on this very panel who did exactly that. Jack, with the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, is an example of somebody peddling abject
I would love to talk about all your Russia episodes, Brian.
Profit.
How many times have you done an episode talking about how Donald Trump is controlled by Russia?
Why can't you stand up for the words that you've said?
Russiagate that you have pushed for absolute years.
Why can't you stand up for the words that you've said?
For absolute years.
Do you stand behind Pizzagate?
For absolute years, your conspiracy theory.
Do you stand behind your own words with Pizzagate? Yes or no?
Destroyed the country.
Yes or no? Do you stand behind Pizzagate?
James T. Hodgkinson, who shot up a Republican.
You can't. If you're willing to say these things, why can't you stand behind them?
Field because
he's not a man.
Why can't you just stand up for your own words? You said them. Why can't you stand up for your own words instead of filibustering?
Okay, look. In the interest of fair play, I like to call out everybody, but look, they put a direct thing to you, Jack. You were part of that Pizzagate conspiracy theory era. Do you now regret that?
Well, for one, I never said that it was true, ever. People have put words in my mouth, and people have claimed things I never said.
Did you believe it might be true?
No.
Then why'd you promote it?
Again, see, he's saying promoted. He can't actually point to anything I've said.
Did you ever promote it?
No.
Never?
Wow.
No, we went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop. And I've said that from the very start.
You also promoted Stops the Steal.
See, again, here we go. So I'm explaining something.
Well, he's given, to be fair to him,
he just jumps over.
To be fair to him, Wajahat and Brian, he's given a very unequivocal response there that he never promoted the Pizzagate thing, which was the QAnon theory, obviously. That he never did that, and so do you guys?
And by the way,
have
QAnon?
Well, hang on.
I'm in the HBO documentary calling out QAnon.
Right, but I just wondered, do either of you guys actually have any evidence he did promote the Pizzagate theory as a theory?
Piers, he is lying.
Okay, well, show me the evidence.
What do you mean? The evidence is his entire career. What are you talking about?
No, that's not good enough. No, Wajahat, you can't do that. If you guys are going to accuse him directly of promoting one of the most outrageous conspiracy theories in modern history, at least provide some evidence. I mean, tell me where he has promoted it.
Jack Posobiec's entire
They're on
career.
ChatGPT right now trying to find something. Why would you make a claim like that against
I'm
Jack if you don't have evidence right away?
I don't know if he did or didn't. I'm relying on you two who made the charge to provide evidence.
For you making a claim like that. You should be right off the top of your head. You shouldn't have to look down and do your research on the show.
I don't mind if they even. To be honest, Brandon, I don't mind if they do want to check it, but I don't know the answer for certain. But you guys are the ones accusing him, so I think it's only fair to ask you: do you have any evidence he promoted the Pizzagate theory?
I will find it right now.
Okay, but you don't have any at the moment.
Jack, Jack, hold on a second, Jack. So what you're saying on live television is you have never, ever in your entire career promoted the Pizzagate conspiracy. You are not in any way, shape, or form responsible for mainstreaming it, promoting it, in any way, shape, or form, making it famous, injecting into the right-wing ecosystem. Is that what you're saying on television?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. I think the kid is taken care of now. So we're good. Let's see. How long did that take me? Anyway, we're at 24, and we were at 20 minutes. Okay, not too bad. All right, let's give this a listen.
Surveillance tape that's gone out. And so I can't help but worry that perhaps it's this same type of political hatred, this idea that we should use violence rather than words, which is what Charlie always stood for, that we saw with Charlie's murder has now come to the UK in this case.
Right.
Yeah, the left is always to blame for political violence, right?
I want to play a clip from Candace Owens, who came back from a break this week and said this.
There is a seemingly infinite number of influencers on social media who watched the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing last week, and they reported back to us common folk that they came away from it and they were effectively drowning. They were submerged, they were engulfed, they were completely buried by the avalanche of undeniable evidence that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean,
okay.
They were so consumed that they all just began using that exact same adjective to express themselves. It is overwhelming. In fact, that has really been the key word since last year, right? It is the new wear a mask, save lives.
What?
6 feet social distancing. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming.
Oh my God, dude, it's so painfully stupid. I'm sorry. Candace Owens is such a piece of shit. And she's so full of shit, too. I genuinely think Tyler Robinson was the one that killed him. But Candace Owens is taking it a step past just that. She's taking it into this massive conspiracy by Israel and or by Jack Posobiec himself and everybody all along the line. It's absurd. It's just absurd.
I mean, the problem with Jaha is the evidence against him is overwhelming. I mean, Jack himself was in court, as he said. He posted yesterday the moment Lance Twiggs, who was the partner of Tyler Robinson, agreed to testify against his boyfriend. The defense was sunk. Twiggs didn't provide an alibi or say the rifle had been stolen. Instead, he confirmed that Tyler Robinson confessed to killing Charlie Kirk, along with other key details of the plot. And I know Officer...
Yeah, not the time to lie for Tyler Robinson on behalf of him. Time to tell the truth because of how politically charged this situation really is.
Tatum, you were there too, and I'll come to you about this. But what do we do about this with Jahat? Because I've watched this play out since Charlie Kirk was murdered, and it's awful. It's awful. It's awful to see a widow, Erica Kirk, whatever people may think of her, to see her targeted in such a heartless, cruel manner.
Yes, it is hard to watch somebody get targeted in a heartless, cruel manner. That's my whole fucking problem with the right. Who do you think is targeting Erica Kirk right now? It's Candace Owens fans.
I just think is horrendous. What are we doing here as a society?
What you're witnessing is political cannibalism, and what we're witnessing is the end result of a political movement that is born off of and fueled by anger, rage, conspiracy theory, and lies. It eventually turns on itself.
Absolutely.
I want to remind everyone, because I have the receipts, that after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, before there was any evidence, before there was anyone who was arrested, Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and the entire right wing blamed the radical left. This was the time during they unleashed the National Guard and ICE against American people and were trying to gin up a case to attack anyone who opposes Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Then what happened? Kash Patel, who is the completely unqualified leader of the FBI, completely messed up, had no leads whatsoever. We actually had the FBI say we have no leads whatsoever. Tyler Robinson turned himself in, according to what we know, because a family member said, turn yourself in. So the only suspect that we actually have is Tyler Robinson. The conspiracy theories that have come out, the ugly conspiracy theories that you've talked about, have only come out from the right wing. In particular, but not exclusively, Candace Owens has profited off it, coming up with these insane conspiracy theories, also anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about, another shooter or perhaps Israel and other individuals, and they don't believe the case itself. And I'm looking at it and say, it looks to me like most likely Tyler Robinson was radicalized. Here is a white man with a gun. He had his own grievance, and he shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And
I think the simplest explanation is often the most correct. And in this case, I think the simplest explanation is that Tyler Robinson did it. There were a lot of weird things, like his chat text messages or whatever it was with the Twigs person, that was weird. Like, there were some odd things, but I currently don't have any reason to think that Tyler Robinson did not do this. And I have every reason to believe that he did. Whoop, sorry.
Now, from the evidence that we've seen in the past week, his roommate said that Charlie Kirk Tyler Robinson broke down crying, admitting that he killed Charlie Kirk. So this is an entire political movement in real time that is eating itself. Candace Owens came from MAGA. MAGA is now turning on MAGA. And now if there's any self-reflection and any decency, which there isn't, they would sit back and say, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't have spread these insane conspiracy theories. Maybe we should not have talked about, QAnon. Maybe we should not have promoted Stop the Steal movement. Maybe we should not have promoted replacement theory. Maybe we have not...
Exactly.
Should not have said that all law enforcement are part of the enemy of the state. Jack, you became famous promoting these theories, these conspiracies, these lies.
So do you mean like when? So I noticed you left out that Jimmy Kimmel said that you mentioned me. Bring it up. I noticed you forgot to mention that Jimmy Kimmel went on nighttime TV and said that it was a MAGA supporter who killed Charlie Kirk.
No, he didn't. He didn't say that. People believed at the moment that it might have been a MAGA supporter. And there was sound reason to believe that. And actually, no, it was a Groyper, a Nick Fuentes supporter. They're different. There was sound reason to believe that at the time. It's not the case, though. As far as I can tell, Tyler Robinson leaned left. Or just plain center. Or didn't have any leanings at all, is what I mean. But... it doesn't really matter. Is that not free speech? He made a joke that MAGA was trying to disown Tyler Robinson. Now, I can see how, saying that could feel like MAGA was being blamed, but it was just a joke, and MAGA wasn't actually being blamed.
I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is a member of the right. I know. I
Jack,
also remember that there were a lot. No. I'll let you talk. Now
Jack,
you brought
have
me
the
up.
courage
I'm
of
going
your
to respond.
convictions. Be a man, Jack.
I also saw
Be a man.
that there were many
Jack,
people
try to
saying
be
that
a
it was a
man.
Groyper.
Don't talk over each other. Let him reply.
Just
Let him reply.
Jack, I didn't interrupt you, Jack.
There were
I'll finish
people
real
who
quick.
claimed it
Let
was
him
a
reply.
There were people
Jack,
who claimed it was
Let him
a...
reply with Jahid, then you can reply to him. Support for Uncensored comes from Dose for Cholesterol.
Dose for... Okay, no. No, thank you, sir. Let's jump forward. That was terrible.
35% off your first month subscription.
There were also people who falsely claimed that it was a Groyper, that it was a member of the right. Jimmy Kimmel spread that on nighttime news.
He did not. Let me actually show you the clip that got him pulled. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me find it. Where the holy heck is it now? All right, let me find it. It's Kimmel. Oh my God, dude. Kimmel, Groyper, joke, Charlie Kirk. Where is it? Where is it? Here is it. Wait, is this it? Wait. Here you go. Right here.
The controversy stemmed from this joke during Monday night's monologue on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show taped on Hollywood Boulevard. It regarded not slain political activist Charlie Kirk, but Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man accused in Kirk's murder.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
That's true. That's exactly what was happening. He wasn't blaming it on MAGA. I just got an alert because my kid has an appointment, I believe. He wasn't blaming it on MAGA. He was saying MAGA's trying to distance themselves from it. And that was absolutely true at the time. Did you see Nancy Mace's response at the time? Hang on. Let me just find this because it's important. Yeah. Yep. Here we go. It's, wait. Right here. Holy heckers, dude. Okay. So they believed that he was a left-winger because that's what Trump was spreading before they even had a suspect, before Tyler Robinson was even suspected or in custody. They said he was a left-winger, right? And then they discovered who Tyler Robinson was and started doing some digging and noticed he was repeating a lot of Nick Fuentes stuff. Between the time we weren't sure what he was and they believed he was on the left, and the time and the time they believed that he might be on the right, Nancy Mace posted these. Time to bring back the death penalty when Tyler Robinson was on the left in her mind. When he's on the right in her mind, we know Charlie Kirk would want us to pray for such an evil and lost individual like Tyler Robinson to find Jesus Christ. We will try to do the same. We truly believe if Tyler Robinson had ever sat down across from Charlie, the great debater, the man of faith and grace he was, Tyler wouldn't have pulled the trigger. These people are so transparently vapid and empty and fucking evil. They were willing to murder somebody who was on the left, but they pulled the punches when they thought the person was on the right. And on top of all of that, what Jimmy Kimmel said there in the joke, everyone thought Tyler Robinson was on the right. Again, he wasn't, we discovered, but everyone believed he was.
The 22-year-old man accused in Kirk's murder.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything.
He's not saying Tyler Robinson was on the right. He's not even saying he believes Tyler Robinson is on the right. He's saying the right is freaked out because they think that Tyler Robinson is on the right. And he was correct. Nancy Mace's set of tweets proves that in itself. Anyway, Jack Posobiec is so full of shit. He's being called out for being a vile fucking monster right here, right now. And he's doing it anyway. He's continuing to do the thing that divided the country in the first fucking place.
Who falsely claimed that it was a groyper, that it was a member of the right. Jimmy Kimmel spread that on nighttime news.
No, he didn't.
This was big news. There was a huge push about it. There were headlines about it. We debated on the show. I don't remember if you're on that exact panel, but I watch every single episode of Pure, so I saw it. I mean, this was huge news. So to say that none of that happened, also notice that you seem to have skipped over the radical left, which we now know absolutely was responsible for this. And
No, the radical left was not responsible, quote unquote. What the fuck even is the radical left in the United States? At the end of the day, there is no radical left party in the U.S. It doesn't exist. There's a left-wing party, but not a radical left party. Not like there is a radical right-wing party.
We even knew that before we had the identification of Tyler Robinson because we had the etchings on the bullets. Hey, fascist, catch. Bella Ciao, the Antifa.
Those were memes from Helldivers, obviously, and he knows that.
Anthem. All of that evidence was out there, but you seem to have missed it.
Yeah, so you're literally doing what I accused you of doing, so thank you for proving
Following the
point.
evidence? Thank you, yes.
Jack, listen, be a man, have the courage of your convictions.
The courage of following the evidence.
10 toes down, Jack.
Reading the evidence.
This is what you have
where
created.
It lies.
Wait, just let me finish. This is the movement that you have created. And this is the movement now that is eating itself.
Oh my God, he's not going to let him get a word in. This is so fucking irritating, dude.
Part of killed Charlie.
Just let me finish, Jack. I let you say what you had to say. I'm almost done.
See, he keeps ramping it up more and more and more. Keeps getting more dramatic, more serious until you are guilty of killing Charlie Kirk.
Listen,
that's the left.
Candace Owens is not a member of the radical left. Candace Owens is a member of MAGA.
The radical left murdered Charlie Kirk.
And the attack against Turning Point and Erica Kirk,
a guy
this
in a
fissure
trans
is relationship
relationship with Antifa etchings on.
Oh my fucking please, dude! It's so absurd how full of shit this dude is. He is literally doing what he said he does, dividing the country, making things worse for people. Complete piece of shit, Jack Posobiec is. Vile shit.
The bullets murdered
Jack, all
Charlie
I'm going to say
Kirk.
is this. Let me
That's
finish.
all the
and
evidence
then,
in
and
court.
then you can move on.
That's the court evidence.
There's a great quote
That's
from
murder,
Godzilla.
and you don't seem.
Oh my God, dude! He's just going to refuse to allow him to speak. You look like a child when you do this, but it has, in a debate, it has the benefit of not allowing your opponent to get their point out. You look like a fucking idiot, but they won't hear the point, and this guy apparently knows the point is pretty good, so.
Care. You don't
Jack,
seem
Ken
to care
Watanabe's
that
character said
Charlie
this.
was killed. There's an MP
Jack,
who's killed in the UK right now.
You're
It
telling
seems
on
to be
yourself.
targeted.
You're not letting me speak. You're
And
telling on
you're
yourself.
blaming me. You seem more upset about
Jack,
me simply
you're
being
telling
here
on yourself.
talking
Just-
than people who agree with your politics murdering.
He needs to talk over him here. The dude on the right needs to talk over Jack Posobiec and call out to the moderator. That's what I would do in this situation. Because every word that Jack gets in is more damaging.
People, one at a campus, one in her own kitchen.
Jack, just let me finish. I did not interrupt you. You seem like you're
You
telling yourself
literally
you're being a
interrupted
bit
me so
nervous.
much that Piers had to step in.
All right. There's a great line from Godzilla. Ken Watanabe character says, "Let them fight." And I, for one, am fine with MAGA eating himself over this horrific issue. And I say, Pierce,
and you seem like you're fine with your guys.
See, again, he's just not going to let him talk. That's so fucking frustrating. He really needs to start yelling and making a big deal out of it to get Piers to step in, because the fair thing is for the dude on the right to speak. So he needs to stop being civil here, in my opinion, because Jack Posobiec isn't being civil.
Killing us.
Let the
You seem like you're
investigation
fine with
play
that.
itself
I don't
out.
hear you have 1 minute of time to say, you know what, both sides should not be violent. Could you at least say that?
I'm perfectly fine condemning violent extremism on all sides. I've done
And
it
what
on
was the
Piers'
motive
show
of the
for
killer
2.5
here?
years.
What was?
He's getting pulled aside now. Jack Posobiec is running this dude over. That's a shame.
The motive
And
of
the
Charlie
number
Kirk's
one
killer?
domestic terror threat in America right now for the past 20 years is, want to take a guess? White supremacist
What was the
terrorism,
motive of
which
Charlie
I condemn.
Kirk's alleged killer? What's the motive? Just answer the question.
You tell me. What's the motive? You tell me, Jack.
I just did many times.
Interesting.
All right, let me bring in the others. You've been waiting patiently. Let me bring.
That was a painful, annoying interaction. The dude should have yelled and spoken over Posobiec.
In Brandon Tatum, aka the Officer Tatum. You've also been in court. You posted day 4 of Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing, changed everything. The courtroom saw the text, the note, the rifle, the DNA, and Lance Twiggs' interview. The conspiracy theories didn't survive the evidence. I mean, look, there seems to be a reluctance by many people on the conservative right in America, whether they're fearful of her or I don't know what it is, but it seems to me pretty cowardly to just outright call out Candace for what she's been doing. Right? What we've seen in the last week in court from the evidence that was produced is that all this conspiracy flying is bullshit. And she's been making a ton of money doing it. It's no different in my eyes to what Alex Jones did with InfoWars about Sandy Hook, right?
Ouch.
Peddling deliberate lies for cash. Now, I'm already in a bet with Candace for charity of $300,000 about whether Brigitte Macron is a man. And the Macrons are suing her. And we're going to get to the bottom of that. And guess what they're going to find? She's a woman because she had 3 kids. And I doubt Candace will pay me. She'll go on a rant about endless conspiracy theories involving everyone involved in the court case. And she won't accept it, in other words. She never accepts anything. She just wants to peddle these conspiracy theories and doesn't seem to care, to me, Brandon, about whether actual people who are grieving, like Erica Kirk, get deeply wounded in the process of all this. And again, I ask you the same question. I mean, would you condemn Candace Owens for what she's been doing?
Yeah, I think that's an easy condemnation. I condemn anything that Candace is saying that is wrong.
Interesting. This dude is on the right, and isn't he like a far-right nutcase? I feel like he is. The fact that he's condemning Candace Owens here is interesting, because I think he was one of those conspiracy theorists about how Israel killed Charlie Kirk and all that shit. Anybody that this group does not like is responsible for killing Charlie Kirk. You know, is it the left? Is it trans people? Trans people killed Charlie Kirk. Is it Israel? Israel killed Charlie Kirk. They'll always come up with some group to condemn, to blame for the evils they perpetrate. At the end of the day, these specific people on screen that I'm looking at, Tatum, that's his name, right? Or Posobiec, and the whole line associated with these people are responsible for the political environment we're in, and they're fucking scumbags.
You know, I know her personally, and me and her are supposed to have a conversation.
The trial, does it get much attention in the USA? No, not really. Maybe among, like, far-right people who are trying to decide whether Charlie Kirk really did die by Tyler Robinson's hand, but for the most part, I don't think anybody really cares. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I just haven't been paying close attention. Hold on. Oh, shit. My kid. I just got an email that my kid has to get a book that if the book is not returned, then it's going to be $126. Not my money. It's Alpha Force Zero's money. Alpha Force Zero works and can pay for her own stuff. All right, let's continue.
And it's saying that is wrong. You know, I know her personally, and me and her are supposed to have a conversation here soon about what's going on, because I think that I think it'll be beneficial for her to be educated on what the truth is, how these processes work, how investigations work, how DNA evidence works. And as a person who know her personally, I think it's invaluable for me and others who know her to have a conversation with her. You know, I don't think that it's...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Antidome, have you seen the latest Steven Anderson meltdown? No, I haven't. What do I search for to find it? Hang on. Give me a second. Wait. Yeah. Yes. Oh boy, no, I have not heard of this. How did I miss this? I was looking into this dude the other day. How did I miss this? Can I find the sermon itself?
And until they repent,
yes,
I never want to see them ever again. And people are like, oh, you need to just make things right with your children, Pastor Anderson. You just need to just swallow your pride, be the bigger person. Hell no. Absolutely not. I never want to see them again. Man, the title of my sermon this evening.
Oh, shit. We're going to cover this in a minute. Anyway, these people are so willing to lie when it benefits them and suddenly are the ultimate arbiters of truth when those lies hurt them. Fucking vile. All right, let's circle back around to this in a minute. I definitely want to see this Steven Anderson thing. Steven Anderson asks God to destroy his 4 wicked children in wild sermon, according to this article. I want to watch the actual sermon itself. Let's see what he had to say here. How long is this? You know what? Before we watch it, I'm just going to let it finish processing real fast. It's on the analysis stage. 24% analysis stage. It's almost done. Give it a second. 43. 51. Okay, it finished. Finished analyzing. 1 second here. All right. Awesome. Let's pull this puppy up, shall we? Steven Anderson, I never want to see them again unless they repent. Awesome. All right. Check this clip out. Steven Anderson apparently cursed his children and said he hopes that God kills them all or some shit.
And until they repent, I never want to see them ever again. And people are like, oh, you need to just make things right with your children, Pastor Anderson. You just need to just swallow your pride, be the bigger person. Hell no. Absolutely not.
I refuse to be the bigger person. I refuse to be mature. You know, I don't think they would give a fuck, genuinely. Let me rephrase. I don't think his children would be willing to listen to him. No chance in hell. After what he put them through, we'll cover some of that in a second.
I never want to see them again. Man, the title of my sermon this evening is Why I Do Not Want to Continue Pastoring. Why I do not want to continue pastoring. Now, let me say this first of all. I'm not quitting today, and I'm not even saying that I'm quitting at all, but I want to be very candid with you tonight.
Here, unfortunately, I have like the full length videos, but I don't have them clipped out. Here, let's see if I get, this is Miriam, his daughter. Basically, here's the story, the short story. Miriam was sent to live with her uncle for like a summer. Just go to visit her uncle somewhere else. Steven Anderson's brother, I believe. And she, when she got there, she decided she didn't want to go back. His brother, the person that she was with, is a super devout religious dude. It's not like he was an atheist or something. He was very well connected and high up in the church, in his own church. But he didn't want to send Miriam back to Steven Anderson because of the shit that he was doing to them, that he knew Steven Anderson was doing to them, to his children. So Steven Anderson tries to destroy her uncle's life by attacking him, pointing his crowds, his little nutcase crowds at him, like doxing his address and his phone number to his congregation and all kinds of insane shit. Well, then Miriam's 2 brothers come out of the woodwork and they say, this is wrong. Leave her alone. She just wants to escape your insane ass. And they came out and they all, I think 3 or 4 of like the 9 kids came out and explained what it was like living with Steven Anderson. All of the overage ones, all of the ones that are moved out and over 18, explained what it was like living with Steven Anderson. And here's just like one example from Miriam.
In the face with paddles.
Hold on.
Always had like long hair, and she would like hit me in the face with paddles and like her fists, and
She's talking about her mom right now, I believe, because her mom was abusive too.
it was like I knew like if I dare spit out this food, like I am going to get like beaten so badly. And so it was like a big punishment when they took away food or made us eat these things. And the thing is, they liked doing this as a punishment because it didn't leave marks. And obviously they did a lot of punishment. My mom.
Here's another clip from her.
The young babies, she would get very frustrated when a kid would cry. She would often like hit them. In particular, I remember when my sister Chloe was 4 months old, my mom like beat her with a paddle for crying. And so as a result, the babies like usually did not particularly like my mom, which honestly, like obviously that's horrible. But they did not really like her because she mistreated them and was very negligent. Like even when she was like watching the kids, she wasn't really like playing with them or engaging with them.
And here's Steven Anderson's kid, Isaac Anderson. Again, like, the only... I think Isaac Anderson is a monster, actually. But he defended Miriam, protected her, and came at his dad over this. So, respect for that. He has a Nazi tattoo, for what that's worth. Let's see...
hit their wives or abuse their children. So
hold on, let me just give me I'm trying to find here.
Younger sister Miriam, we obviously exposed my dad for being a wife beater, child abuser, overall just degenerate person, not qualified to be a pastor, not qualified to really be a father or husband either, but definitely not qualified to continue being a pastor. And obviously my dad's just digging his heels in. He won't credibly deny anything we have. He just says we're lying, but he won't give specific details on what we're lying about. He won't actually deny anything. He just goes, oh, they're lying, they're exaggerating. But he also won't deny it. He will not deny using an electrical cable on his kids. He won't deny using it on his wife. He's got some stupid thing where he's going, oh.
Using a cable, like a cable on his wife and children. A fucking extension cord. Okay, I just want you to have like an idea of who this dude is. Hold on, I'm just looking for... Give me 1 second to scan through here. I think it was about halfway through.
And by the way, for the record, let's just say it was. Let's just pretend that the one time the spousal punishment was a part of that.
Oh yeah, spousal punishment. He would also beat his wife with an extension cord. I forgot about that one. He beat his wife with an extension cord and called it spousal punishment. This is his son Solomon doing his takedown video of his dad. They weren't even takedown videos. They were just honest accountings where these kids would sit in front of a camera and they would tell us about like what their childhood was like. That's it. That simple.
I have to retract everything I just said because we were exposed to that. We didn't see it necessarily, but like we knew it was happening. They'd be blowing up at each other and then they have to send us all outside while they do that. So then in that case, we were exposed to that. So
it was insane. The whole saga was insane. And there was another kid who came out. John, I think was his name. I forget. And he was one of the first. Yeah, he was the first to come out and defend Miriam. And they went hardest at him in retaliation, threatening his life, telling him they were going to fucking murder him and stuff. And he retracted and apologized and disappeared from the internet. Then Isaac came out. Then Solomon came out. Then Miriam came out. And this affected Steven Anderson so badly, it caused a schism in his church. Because if you don't have your family under control, you have no right to be a pastor, right?
About how I feel about things and what I'm going through. And, you know, God willing, I'm going to be back here on Wednesday night preaching, and I'm going to preach as many sermons as I can. But I want to tell you that I'm very upset about my situation. And if God does not intercede in my situation and fix my situation,
I have that exact tie.
Then I do not want to continue. Let me tell you something. Over the past few years, I have become a very angry and bitter person on the inside.
Bro, like you weren't already? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. Let me just show you who he is.
Here, put this in your pipe and smoke it. If I had a button right here on the pulpit, I could just push this button and every fag would fall over dead. I'll push it until it breaks. If I had a button on the pulpit, I could push it and every homosexual would fall over dead. I will push it until I break my finger.
Just to show you what kind of person he is. He was not bitter before, but he's bitter now? Interesting. Hold on. Here, you check this one out.
And what these people do is every bit as gross.
Talking about gay people.
Yay, much grosser than eating your own vomit. I would rather eat my own vomit out of a bowl with a spoon every day for the rest of my life until I'm 100 years old than to engage in what they do one single time.
Okay, well, interesting. I see what you just said, and I raise you this. I don't think about being gay. Is there a reason you're sitting around thinking about doing gay things to the degree that you're disgusted, quote unquote, with it? Why are you trying so hard to convince us that you're disgusted by being gay? Literally not once in my entire life have I ever felt compelled to tell people about how fucking disgusting it is or how disgusting I feel when I sit there and think about being gay or whatever. What is wrong with you? Genuinely. He's coming up with fucking analogies for things he'd rather do than gay shit. To come up with some other activity that you would hate more than being gay, you would have to gauge how much you'd hate being gay, right? At least. You know he sat around thinking about this. You know he did. Let me find another clip from him. Hold on, where is it? Here. Yeah, here you go.
Now look, if you want to bring homos to church, we're going to have a problem. But, you know, people come up to me and want to argue with me all the time and say, you know, well, I believe homos can be saved. And I always tell them the same thing. Go out and get as many homos saved as you want. Just don't bring them here. That's what I say to them. I'm not going to sit there and argue with you.
The point is, he's a vile sack of shit. He's always been bitter in his heart. He's fucking disgusting. So I don't want to hear it. You're now bitter, really? Oh, one more. I'm sorry. We're going to go down this road. YouTube deletes his YouTube channel, and he gets so pissed off about it, he asks for God to burn YouTube to the ground.
It's too bad that this message about the love of God is struggling to find its way on YouTube. It's pretty sad when my wife has to call me before the service and say, where's the channel? I can't find it. Because YouTube has been deleting our channel. It's not her fault. YouTube is deleting our channel.
Wait, he said it's not her fault. Did somebody in the audience yell dumb bitch or something? Is that why he felt compelled to say that? It's not her fault?
Because YouTube has been deleting our channel. It's not her fault. YouTube is deleting our channel. Like every week, every day. You know, meanwhile, Insane Clown Posse's channel is doing fine. Okay? And think about the vile and the filth.
Insane Clown Posse isn't actively calling for the deaths of specific individuals. They're not actively calling for gay people to be murdered. Steven Anderson is. Insane Clown Posse says some weird shit on some of their videos that arguably maybe it shouldn't be monetized, certainly. But they're not actively hating people and looking for an opportunity to destroy somebody's life. Very different cases, obviously.
And the garbage.
Except for Eminem's. They're trying to destroy Eminem's life.
And think about the vile and the filth and the garbage that's on that kind of stuff. I mean, you think Insane Clown Posse is a little bit of filth, a little bit hateful, but that's okay because it's not Jesus Christ.
They're not hateful. I mean, filth, I guess that's a subjective thing. But there's nothing wrong with filth. I mean, in his eyes, you know, sexual content or swearing or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that on YouTube. You're allowed to do that on YouTube. It's actively calling for people's deaths, which he does regularly, or calling for YouTube headquarters to burn down. That's a surefire way to get you banned forever.
In the word of God that's being preached. Truth is hate to those who hate the truth. And right now, you know, YouTube has just banned me and just deleting my channels one after the other. You know, it's just I make a new channel, it gets deleted. I keep respawning. Every time I die, I don't have 9 lives. I just keep coming back, keep respawning again and again. They cannot stop us from preaching the word of God.
So they've been spawn camping to make sure that his respawns don't take.
Maybe the fact that California is going up in flames right now. Maybe God can just go like, and maybe it can hit Mountain View, California, and torch old YouTube's headquarters, torch old Google's headquarters, right?
So you're not bitter? You don't have hate in your heart? Steven Anderson? Really? What an absolutely wild thing to say. Knowing that there are videos out there of you saying things like that. The twig and berries on somebody to say some shit like that.
Even though on the outside, you know, I'm showing up and smiling and doing the best that I can, I've become extremely angry because of what my 4 evil eldest children have done to me. And what they did is so sick and so evil and so wicked, and it makes me very angry. And I've become a very angry, bitter person.
Wow. They exposed you for beating them and their mother with an extension cord regularly, not once, but all the time. And they are sick and evil and demented for exposing you? Wow, okay.
On the day-to-day. I'm just saying. I'm just telling the truth tonight. Proverbs 17:21 says this, "He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy." And you know what? That is the reality that I live with. The father of a fool has no joy. And you know what? It is impossible for me to move on from this, because even if I spend my entire day thinking about other things, I spend my entire day reading the Bible, studying, working, being busy with other things, every single night I go to bed, I have dreams about this, and I wake up every single morning, and this is the first thing on my mind every single morning. If I take
Good. Oh my God, I love that. That's fantastic. You are actually facing down what happened. That is the shit. I love everything about it. It bothers you that much that your children exposed you, huh?
a nap in the afternoon, this is the first thing on my mind when I wake up, period.
And the sad thing about this is that he still doesn't seem to connect the dots on this, that this was his doing, his fault. Every part of this was his fault. He still hasn't connected the dots that He beat his children, and that's why this is happening right now. He thinks it's his kid's fault.
I can't control what's in my subconscious of this garbage. It's also impossible for me to move on because multitudes of people continue to rub my nose in this every single day, 365 days a year. People online are every single day slandering me and lying about.
Slandering and lying. Slandering and lying. He admitted to this shit. What do you mean slandering and lying? We know for a fact that he beat his kids with an extension cord. That he beat his wife with an extension cord and then called it spousal discipline. We know that is factual. There's no question. Why are you even pretending?
And it never stops. For the last 21 years of pastoring this church, I have dealt with false accusations and slander, death threats, loss of jobs, multiple incidents of swatting at my house.
Bro, he literally inspired that shit against others. Like his brother. I think it was his brother or his wife's brother, whoever's brother. I think it was his brother. When Miriam didn't want to come back, he convinced his audience to swat and attack and harass that family. In what way is this anybody's fault but your own, Stephen? You did this. Fuck with the bull, get the horns. Is that what they say?
False reports made to CPS, receiving dangerous and gross things sent to me in the mail, bank accounts canceled, giving platforms canceled, social media accounts deleted, being constantly told that I'm evil.
Why? Why? Are you really that fucking stupid that you have no clue, no idea what could have possibly brought this on? Or what could have possibly brought this on? You have no idea? Not even a clue. You couldn't even take a guess, a wild guess?
Constantly told that I'm an idiot. Zero respect from my fellow loser fundamental Baptists over the last 21 years. Zero respect from the sucky, lame, barely soul-winning old IFB. Zero respect from them. Only lies, slander, and trashing me. Never backing me up in a battle. Never standing with me. The pastor who sent me out has lied about me and slandered me nonstop for over a decade.
Wonder why? He must know, right? He must know why he is as unpopular as he is. He can't possibly be that in the dark, right?
Nothing but lies and slander and hate from my sending pastor. I've been labeled a hate preacher, a cult leader, trashed in the...
He definitely is a cult leader. I say that with 100% confidence here.
Media. And you know what? For 21 years, I have borne it all with a smile and said, none of these things move me.
You what? You bore it with a smile? You cannot be fucking real, Stephen. This is nonsense. He knows he has not borne this with a fucking smile. He does nothing but talk about how fucking persecuted he is. This is not new. He's been talking about how persecuted he is for a long fucking time. I bore it with a smile.
None of them move me. Come at me, bro. And I have gone through a lot of persecution and a lot of stuff. But let me just say this.
Oh my God, it's so painfully fucking stupid, bro.
You know, the things that have happened over the last 2 years are just too much. Because you know what? I have gone through a lot of persecution over the 20 years of pastor. But you know, it was sustainable. But I have been betrayed in the worst way by my only physical brother. And you know what? My poop stain of a brother, Clint, the evil piece of crap that is...
He literally just protected his niece. Clint, though he's a right-wing nutcase and a religious fanatic, is respectable as they get. To protect Miriam the way that he did. To help her when she needed help is so respectable. And to face down what Steven Anderson was willing to throw. Steven Anderson is such a piece of shit, dude.
My brother Clint, you know, the only way that he could have screwed me over worse and betrayed me worse would be, I think, to commit adultery with my wife. It's pretty much the only worst thing that worthless piece of trash could have done.
He did exactly what an uncle is there to do. Protect children when the parents can't or won't. That is fucking respectable, okay? I'm sorry, it just is.
I've been betrayed by my only physical brother, who I trusted, just totally betrayed me in the worst possible way. All 4 of my adult children have totally betrayed me. My best friend and fellow pastor, Roger Jimenez, David Berzins, who I did nothing but good for 18 years.
Yeah, they're talking about, or he's talking about the people who turned on him after the, because as a pastor, you need to have your house in order. And your 4 adult children come out and accuse you of beating the shit out of them with an extension cord, with chairs. Literally picked up a chair and beat the fucking shit out of Isaac with it until the chair broke, is how he described it. I was physically abused by my dad too. Completely get it. And I have absolutely no sympathy. Zero for Steven Anderson. Not even a little bit. I hope he dies unhappy. I hope he dies with this in the back of his head. My legacy is destroyed. And I suspect he will. There's something I wanted to look up. What was it?
Jimenez.
Oh, Jimenez, right. Here. No. Give me a second. I'm just looking for the video from Jimenez. Where was it?
TikTok. Past Steven.
Seems like
Jordan.
Are you
My dad basically.
Here's how I would approach that.
Hold on. Oh my God.
Let's say
At this
welcome to this very special episode of Rediscover People.
At this point, I think it's become very clear that everything that we've said is true. And
I can't find the Jimenez clip. Hold on.
Man, when it comes to this...
Wait. Okay, this is Salvador Alvarez, not Jimenez. I have another video from Jimenez, and I can't find it at the moment.
To a psych ward. I still believe the test...
Hold up.
So first of all, as many of you may have seen, I have publicly broken fellowship with Pastor Jonathan Shelley, not because of any major doctrinal issues, but because of a huge moral issue. Specifically because he does not judge people for hitting children with electrical cords, and because he does not condemn men for doing spousal corporal punishment.
Jonathan Shelley, the person he's denouncing right now, is another NIFB pastor. It's a whole movement that Steven Anderson runs. Multiple churches and everything. It's big. It's a giant thing. And Jonathan Shelley took over Faithful Word Baptist Church, Steven Anderson's church, so that Steven Anderson could go plant other churches, quote unquote. So the fact that Jonathan Shelley was refusing to condemn Steven Anderson for what he did to his children forced a bunch of other high-profile people to completely break fellowship with, quote unquote, leave the NIFB. Up to and including Salvador Alvarez and Jimenez, as Steven Anderson was saying.
David Berzins, who I did nothing but good for 18 years.
Well, I don't give a fuck what good you did for him or anybody else. I care that you beat the shit out of your children with extension cords.
Taught him everything, baptized him, got his wife saved, baptized her, and him and his piece of trash wife have just betrayed me, slandered me.
God damn, his piece of trash wife. Holy fuck, bro.
Evil, rotten people. A whole nother long list. I mean, we could list all the so-called fake pastor friends in the dozens that have stabbed me in the back. 95 church members who abandoned me in 2024. And frankly, it's just a little much for me to handle. And you know what? Here's the thing. On the positive side, I will say this. We lost 95 people in 2024. I don't think anybody left the church in 2025 or 6 over this issue.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're dealing with a cult. There's an issue that happens, and it kind of divides the church. Everybody who leaves is gone for good, but everyone who stays is there for good. They're not going anywhere. They didn't lose anybody because that's how polarization works. That's how cults work.
At all.
Like, look at MAGA right now. MAGA has seen Trump through literal rape accusations. Trump literally raped children. And MAGA is still with him. The people who are still MAGA are not going anywhere. They are there for the rest of their fucking lives. It doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter what he does. He could literally take advantage of a child on video and they wouldn't leave his side. Although that's not strictly true. I've been saying this for a while. There is one thing Trump could do to lose MAGA, and that is go to the left. If he came out as trans or gay, well, if he came out as gay, he may survive that. Coming out as trans with all the culture war stuff, that would definitely destroy Trump. The point is that there is no limit to how far right Steven Anderson can go. If Steven Anderson came out as gay, he would be canceled by his people. But he could literally take advantage of a child on air, and his people would stay. That's how cults work.
You know, I will say that. But you know what? This kind of just intimate betrayal and just the continual trashing of me and my character and me just being labeled as just pretty much the worst thing that you could label anyone in America in 2026. I'm this wife beater, child abuser, right? That's my legacy. That's who I am on the internet now.
Yeah, that you are. That is who you are. Yes, that's correct.
Now, to every single person, 1,000 times a day, 10,000 times a day, and frankly, I'm getting a little sick of it. I don't feel.
Well, maybe try not beating the shit out of your wife and or children. Next time, maybe if you don't do that, you won't have a bad reputation.
I feel like the quality of the preaching has gone down. I feel like I've preached some of my best sermons in the last couple months and everything. I'm doing the best I can. I'm getting up here and I am praying for the power of the Holy Ghost. I'm preaching hard. I'm trying to lead the best that I possibly can. But I am tortured every single day in my own mind.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. You deserve it. You have to live with this until the day you fucking die because of what you did to your children.
And I have to fight a psychological battle every single week just to get up here and preach 3 times a week. I am tormented and fighting a battle in my own mind, a battle with myself that takes me days and days. And almost every Sunday, I think, I'm not going to make it. Every Wednesday, I think, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. And it's like Monday, I'm just like, I don't want to preach. I got nothing to say. Screw it. Screw everything. Tuesday, same way. And it's like, I'm trying to psych myself up just to get up and preach a Wednesday night sermon.
Wow, dude. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Damn.
To do this on the 250th anniversary of America. God bless America, because you know what? America is the best country in the whole world. But you know what? At the same time, I feel like modern American culture is part of what poisoned my children against me because of the fact that they're taught this feminist, pro-faggot stupidity that our country promotes?
That it's not okay to beat children with a chair or an extension cord? Is that this stupidity that America teaches your children? Is that what you're saying?
It's like, how can I even raise my kids in this country if everybody's just gonna tell them the opposite of what the Bible is saying and what their parents are telling them? And then even their stupid uncle is gonna poison their minds.
Like, when literally every person in your life turns against you, even the people who previously agreed with you on religion and every other issue, do you think maybe that should kind of throw up a little red flag in your mind? Do you think maybe you should reconsider what's going on? Take another look at it? Think to yourself, maybe I shouldn't beat the shit out of my children with a chair. That's not tripping in your head. That's not kicking off. That flag's not popping up. At least the rest of his days will be torment. I'm glad to hear that. He deserves it for what he's done to his children. He absolutely deserves it. This is some of the best news I've heard in a minute.
What is it that I want? What do I want to happen? What is going to fix this for me? Well, you know what? I want exactly what this verse says that God is going to do. I want to be avenged speedily. That's what I want.
Does that mean you want your children to be dead?
That's what I want. That's all I want. I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm asking for one thing. I want to be avenged speedily. Now, if you would, go to Exodus chapter 21. So what is it that I want? I want God to fix my situation, and I want to be vindicated publicly. I want to be publicly vindicated. I do not deserve to have my reputation trashed and slandered to the left.
He literally said that he engages in spousal discipline. Those were his words. What I do with my wife consensually is no one's business. We consensually engage in spousal discipline. I consensually beat the shit out of her, is what that means. There is no vindication because you're guilty and you admitted to it.
Level that it has been. You know what? I'm willing to be lied about, slandered. Hey, count it all joy when people, say all manner of evil against you falsely. I've been doing that for 21 years. This is extreme. This is beyond the pale, and I'm sick of it, and I don't want to put up with it anymore. I want to be vindicated publicly. I want my reputation to be fixed. That's what I want.
Well, guess what? You're not gonna get, Steven. This dude's reputation is permanently fucked, as it should be. As is deserved. There's a piece of good news I didn't expect to get today. He wakes up every morning, take a nap, and he's thinking about this every single day. Good. Good. You deserve that.
Now, what does this look like? Well, I would say either A, I want my children to come out publicly and recant the evil things that they said about me and my wife. And I want them to admit that they lied and or exaggerated about the discipline that they received. I want them to publicly admit that they were wrong and publicly tell the world that we were good parents, because that is the truth. And you know what? Maybe you believe that. Maybe you don't believe that. I don't care. I was there, and I know it's the truth. And you know what? You might be sitting there thinking, well, Pastor Anderson's a great man of God. He's spirit-filled. He's done a lot of great works, but he must have really been a crappy parent. He must have prioritized the ministry and just kind of put his kids on the back burner.
No, that's not the problem. The problem was never that you put your children on the back burner. It's that you literally put their hands on burners. It's that you literally hit them until they bled, until they couldn't walk anymore. You beat the shit out of them. Did you really expect your reputation to survive their adulthood? Honestly, the man has no self-awareness. No, he has no fucking clue what's going on. Apparently. This blows me away. It's shocking to me when you hear the most evil human being on planet Earth genuinely telling you that they really feel like a victim, that they are genuinely innocent, when you know for a fact that they're not, and that they did some really vile shit intentionally, knowingly at the time.
Guess what? That's not true. I'm a family man. I spent time with those children. I invest in them. I sacrifice with them. I love them. And you know what? I had probably the best relationship with my daughter that I could possibly imagine any father having with his daughter is the relationship that I feel like I had with Miriam.
No, Miriam was afraid of him. She was scared shitless of him. And she explained all of this when she went to Clint. She didn't want to go back to Steven Anderson. She was afraid of what would happen if she went home. You can imagine or believe you had a good relationship with Miriam, but it's clear as day you didn't. Or she would have wanted to go back. She would have wanted to hang out with you more. She and everybody in the family, Clint, his brother, and his other sons, John, Isaac, Solomon, sacrificed so fucking much to protect Miriam, to protect her from Steven Anderson. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that he believes that he's really a good person and that he really had a good relationship with his daughter. And it was everyone else that poisoned her against him or some shit. Let me tell you something. If you genuinely have a good relationship with your kid, nothing can poison that kid against you like that. Not easily. If it's a real good relationship with anybody, poisoning it is hard. It's hard work. I guess I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's not easy.
Do you know how surreal it is to watch her go on YouTube with some faggot in drag, a literal man in drag, and just tell lies about me? And
You're talking about Dead Domain. Dead Domain is non-binary. So, yeah. That's Steven Anderson. He's still just as hateful as he's ever been, isn't he? He hasn't learned a goddamn fucking thing, has he? Not one single fucking thing.
trash me and say all these things? I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know, and it's like, and ask me how motivated I am to have a super close relationship with my teenage daughter, Rebecca, right here, 17 years old, and my teenage daughter, Anna, right here, 15 years old. You know, it's kind of hard for me to even want to invest in that relationship when I had the perfect, ideal relationship with Miriam, and that's what she did to me.
Imagine being Rebecca and listening to him say some shit like that. That's fucking sad. That is so fucking sad, dude. This guy is broken inside. I just am so sorry for all of his children. To have to listen to your dad say something like that is really sad.
But you know what? Option B is in God's control. And this is why I'm a little upset. This is why I'm mad. Because option B is that I want God to punish them in a spectacular public way so that I can be vindicated and so the Lord can show that he's on my side. And I'm talking about my brother Clint, and I'm talking about my 4 evil, rebellious children, and I'm talking about Paul Wittenberger.
So you want God to kill them? You want them to get into a car accident or something? Is that what he's saying?
Those 6 people need to reap, they either need to get right with God or they need to reap the whirlwind, or I am not going to continue pastoring. I'm just telling you that right now.
Wow. Okay. So you're giving God an ultimatum is what I'm hearing. God's ultimatum is if God does not punish your children, you aren't going to pastor for him anymore? What a genuinely sick and twisted mind. Like, just take a step back for a moment and look at this objectively. He's an evil human being, but you know, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? It's his problem, right? It's his life. It's his issue, not ours. Just take a step back for a second and think about what he just said. What a genuinely sick and twisted person. And yeah, if God doesn't punish them, maybe he wants you to feel punished. You ever knock that one around? Maybe if God does not punish your children, it's because God thinks you need to learn a lesson. Are you learning the lesson? It doesn't seem like it.
And you know what? If God loves me so much, and God wants to bless me so much, and God wants to use me so much as he has for the last 20 years, you know what? I'm asking God to throw me a bone here and do something for me.
Holy shit, dude. Is this guy walking away from Jesus? That is fucking wild, bro. That is wild. I cannot believe he's saying this shit.
And you know, there are a lot of other bonus enemies that would be great too. But those are the big ones. In that order.
You want them dead. You're saying you want your children, you want God to kill your children. Am I reading this correctly?
And look, any of these people, any of these wicked people who participate in this is more than welcome to repent whenever they want. And you know what? I have already demonstrated that I will, from the heart, forgive anyone who repents. That's my Christian duty, and I've already demonstrated that. I will forgive from the heart anyone who truly repents. However, if they don't repent, they need to be destroyed by God.
If they don't repent to you, if they don't repent to Steven Anderson, like for a personal grievance that you have with them, that is fucking wild, dude. This guy is unglued from reality to say some shit like this.
You could pick any definition. We could take every single possible definition that cursing your father and mother has, and my 4 children have done that.
I'm not sure. No. I mean, exposing you as an evil human being is not cursing your father. That's exposing you as evil.
They publicly tried to ruin my ministry, ruin my career, ruin my marriage, ruin my reputation. They said publicly that they wanted me and my wife to go to prison. That my wife should go to prison for 20 years?
I'm not sure if they actually said that, but I wouldn't be surprised. They deserve it. Do you know how much time you get for beating your child? If it's actually caught and prosecuted, you get a lot of time for that. That is not a slap on the wrist. You do get 20 years for beating your kid. Just almost nobody is ever caught for doing that. And it gets swept under the rug a lot. I think that he would probably get 20 years for some of the shit that he did to his children.
And let me tell you something. My wife is a great mom. Super loving. I mean, she's a great parent.
I understand she was just as abusive as him in different ways.
These little sniveling brats just don't appreciate anything because they just have, I guess, these first world problems or whatever.
First world problems, like being beaten with an extension cord.
Wanting us to go to prison. They said they wanted us to get our kids taken away. I mean, they did interview after interview lamenting how, CPS isn't doing their job. CPS needs to come take the kids away from my parents. Isaac saying, CPS needs to come. John saying, CPS needs to, I mean, Miriam saying, CPS. Calling CPS, right? And you know, I don't even know if I've publicly revealed this before. But, well, first of all, they also said other horrible things about me that I can't even repeat behind the pulpit because they're just vile.
Okay, after the things you've said, you can't repeat the things that they've said after what you've said from the pulpit. Really? He doesn't have a limit on what he's willing to say from the pulpit.
and I'm not going to speak that way behind the pulpit.
Fuck, you literally just use the F slur for gay people. You regularly use the T slur. What are you fucking talking about right now?
But, you know, they've cursed me in every possible definition of that word, okay? They're wicked, and they need to repent immediately, or they need to be punished by God, and everyone who has egged them on and encouraged them to do this should get the same punishment. And until they repent, I never want to see them ever again. And people are like, oh, you need to just make things right with your children, Pastor Anderson. You just need to just swallow your pride, be the bigger person. Hell no. Absolutely not. I never want to see them again. Life is too short to have those kind of toxic, wicked, evil people in your life. Why would I want those evil pieces of trash influencing my other 8 children? You think I want my other 8 children to...
Jesus, I forgot he had 12 children. Yeah. 12 fucking kids, dude. 1/3 of his children came out against him. That's 4 of them. My God. That's so many kids. Because he doesn't believe in birth control, of course. He's from the Quiverful movement or whatever.
Grow up and be rotten like that? I don't ever want to see them again. If I ever see them again, it'll be too soon. Oh, you need to fix things. I'm sorry, but I'm not the one who did wrong. Period. I'm the parent. They're the child. I reared them biblically. I followed the Bible to the best of my ability.
Which is to say he beat the shit out of them with extension cords, with paddles, with chairs, whatever he could get his hands on. And that's biblical, I guess, so it's okay.
I never said I was a perfect parent or that I never made any mistakes. I was not a perfect parent. Yes, I made mistakes, but I wasn't even just a good parent. I was a great parent, and I don't care whether you believe me or not. It's true. And my wife's a great mom.
Well, you obviously do care if they believe you, right? This is, I mean, that's the whole thing. You're literally saying you don't want to preach anymore because people don't believe that you're a good parent.
And I'm a great dad. And I'd put us in the top 99% of the planet.
I bet.
You can like it or lump it. I don't care.
Okay, well, what if I'm going to lump it? Is that okay with you?
I need God to intercede for me and to fix my situation and to go to bat for me. And if he does not do that, I'm just telling you right now, I am on my way out.
If God does not intercede on my behalf by killing my children, I'm not going to be a pastor anymore. Wow.
I'll be here Wednesday. God willing, I'll be here next Sunday. But I'm telling you that my heart is not in it. And my heart's not going to be in it until God fixes my situation.
That's fantastic news. I love it.
And Jonah chapter 4 is how I feel. And I'm going to get up here. And I promise you this. Here's the problem. I can't promise that I'm going to do this job forever. But I will promise you this. I will never get up behind this pulpit and BS you about anything, ever. And I never have, and I never will. And if I get up here and say something, I mean it from the... I'm not Tommy McMurtry riling up the base, okay?
Oh, shit! A shot at Mr. Pumpkin himself. You guys remember the Pumpkin Saga all for so long ago? Tommy McMurtry, he jumped ship on Steven Anderson as well. Mr. Pumpkin. He basically said the reason he got that name is because he kind of went to war with the atheist community on YouTube a while back. And he said, Mr. Atheist, you know, Jimmy Snow, is the biggest fruit on planet Earth. He's like a pumpkin, which is the biggest fruit, which is incorrect. He said Jimmy was a pumpkin because he's the biggest fruit. So anyway, actually, I believe that's a jackfruit. But okay. Dude's thinking about pumpkins. This is McMurtry, if you're unfamiliar.
And, you know, you ask your average person...
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I wanted to watch this clip.
We know there have always been homos. We know they have always been around. We've read the book of Genesis, okay? Nobody's saying they're never around, but there was a time when society, when our country saw them for what they were, and they put them in their place 6 feet under. And unfortunately, we have forgotten that in our country. We know.
Point is that this dude, Tommy McMurtry, he turned on Steven Anderson for being too evil. After saying gay people should be put in their place 6 feet under. Holy shit.
There have always.
Anyway, yeah.
Everything I say is real and I mean it, period. And I promise you that. If I'm up here preaching on Wednesday, every single word will be truth from the Bible and from the heart of Pastor Anderson. It's not going to be me going through the motions or saying things I don't believe.
Okay, that's literally what you just said it was going to be. That is contradicting what you just said. You just told us you're going through the motions. And that you're going to continue going through the motions until your children are, like, murdered by God. Or whatever. So, which is it?
But I'm just telling you, my heart is not in this job anymore, and it's not going to be in this job anymore until God shows himself mighty on my behalf. And that's where I'm at. And you know what? I feel like I owe it to you to tell you the truth. And so maybe this is an ugly sermon. Maybe you didn't like to hear it. But you know what? I
enjoyed the hell out of that, actually.
Told you the truth tonight.
Anyway, that's the clip. Wow. Tell me what you think in the comments. Good riddance, you sack of shit. There's more I could say, but I'm going to abstain because I don't want to be the person who says those things about who this guy is. Tell me what you think. All right. Wow, that was really interesting, actually. I'm so glad I found that. Thank you to whoever pointed me to that. I was actually looking up Steven Anderson the other day. I can't believe I missed that. Anyway, all right. Let's continue with this. Let's see here. Give me a second. All right. Let's just continue from here. I'm not going to bother with an intro right now. I'll give an intro, but it probably won't go here. This is Piers Morgan with Jack Posobiec, and Posobiec made a complete ass of himself on this. It was fascinating to watch. Let's give this a listen.
Conducive to get out and scream her name every single day on social media. Erica's not doing it. Turning Point is not doing it. Charlie never did it, even though he disagreed with many things that Candace said. I think it is important that we attack what is being said 100%. It is lies. I think the things that are being said are evil. They're hurtful. They're counterproductive to Charlie Kirk's legacy, who he was as a man, and what he stands for. And I condemn anybody that's out here peddling lies when we have evidence that's unequivocal that came out in court in the preliminary hearing. It's going to be even worse if they go to trial. There's going to be even more evidence. There can be more witnesses. And so and the gentleman that's, I guess next to me, I don't know if the audience is seeing it the way I'm seeing it, but what a complete fool to sit and gloat and have your opportunity to say, well, I'm excited that the MAGA is fighting each other.
Yeah, I love everything about it. I do want MAGA to fight each other because they have produced this environment, this insane fucking environment that led to extremism, radicalism, violence like this. They made every part of this happen. So yeah, I'm glad to see them suffering the consequences that they created for themselves. Absolutely.
On the back of Charlie, who was assassinated for just being a man who spoke the truth. He was a good...
He was not a man who spoke the truth. He's not a good person. He was a sack of shit. That's just what it is.
Man, he was a good father. I knew him personally. And it's a shame that we can't sit here and just condemn hatred. We have to go and point that it's MAGA, it's not MAGA. That's foolery. This man lost his life representing what America stands for, and that is the freedom of speech. He would voluntarily, people came to debate him on campus. He never was belligerent with people. He didn't get violent with people. He gave people opportunities to speak.
He didn't give people opportunities to speak. Specifically, the people who could have beaten him in an argument, people who were experienced in debating, he would not debate them. He would only debate people who didn't know what they were doing, because he knew he could beat them easier. So I don't want to hear it.
And a leftist nut job that follow this anti-Trump hatred towards Christians and conservatives is the one that took his life in callous with no remorse.
Okay.
And so don't give me that crap about MAGA. The left is the most violent group of people in this country. They tried to kill the president multiple times.
Oh, fucking nonsense. No, the right tried to kill the president, actually. It was a Republican who took shots at Trump. Not a Democrat, a Republican. But these people are constant, perpetual victims, and they always will be. So why am I not surprised?
They killed Charlie. They've tried to kill Congress members. These people are threatening my life, Jack Posovic's life. I mean, we got letters in the mail from these nut jobs.
Yeah, you see, people on the left are never attacked by people on the right, ever. It doesn't happen.
Claiming to kill us. You cannot name a single instance in recent history where conservatives are doing the exact same thing.
You can't be fucking real with this. You cannot be serious. You don't think that conservatives are getting violent or psychotic? There's no way he believes that.
Targeting and killing a Democrat. Name one.
Well, I would say, I would say that it is provable that in this century, that for the overwhelmingly large part of this century, most of the political violence in America has come from the right.
Absolutely, there is no question.
I mean, that's inarguable statistically.
I would
couch it by saying, I think there's been a turnaround in the last 2 years, I think was...
No, there hasn't.
The last thing I read. And for the first time, actually, this century, you're seeing it skewing slightly to the left now. So this is the problem on both sides. Why don't we just be intellectually honest about it? So we bring in Brian Tyler Cohen. This is a problem on both sides. Radicalized...
No, it's really not a problem on both sides. I'm not going to let this both sides bullshit take root. Okay? The political extremism, the political violence is overwhelmingly a problem on the right. It needs to be solved by the right. Period. The right has been dramatically overrepresented in the crime or in the extremism statistics for 30 years or something like that. I don't remember how long. And there was one period of time for something like a month, the rate of left-wing violence ticked up for like a single month. Not the total amount, but the growth rate of left-wing violence ticked up for a single month, and the right was like, look, left-wing violence beats right-wing violence. These people are shameless fucking liars.
People to the left and right who think that the answer to disagreeing with people is to kill them, right? And we're seeing the same thing in the UK. Anne Widdecombe is the third politician who's been murdered in the last 12 years in the UK. The third, right? And it is for their political beliefs. They're getting killed. It's like the most appalling form of terrorism you can imagine, right? These are politicians representing constituents. And whether it's Charlie Kirk in America, a political figure, or actual politicians in the UK, all the presidents you've had who've been shot and assassinated and survived assassinations and so on. This has been going on since I was born. You know, I was born in 65, and you had JFK murdered just before me, then his brother, then Martin Luther King, and so on. Trump's only been killed several times. So let's not pretend it's just the left or the right. It's not. But let's come back to Charlie Kirk, because what you're seeing immediately, you're seeing with
the right vastly outstrips the left in political violence in the United States. Not even fucking close.
Lindsey Graham, for example, who, from what the accounts I've read, almost certainly has died of a heart-related condition, which came on very suddenly and can kill you very quickly. But I'm also reading endless conspiracy theories being aired that this was Russia, it was Iran, it was Israel. You know, Trump has been asked about it. He said this.
Look, the Russians have a habit of poisoning people they don't like. And Lindsey Graham once called for Putin to be, taken out. You have any suspicions or worries? Do you think we know the whole...
Oh, fucking please.
story about his death?
I don't think, just to answer the conspiracy theory, I don't know. I'd love to say yes, but I think he had some problems and very, very difficult. And his father died just about at the same age from, I'm a believer in the racehorse theory. If you have problems, you have problems. And
I'm sorry, what? I'm a believer in the resource theory. If you have problems, you have problems. What is that? What does that mean?
He had some problems that were a little bit deep-seated and not easy to find.
So, Brian...
What? I don't understand.
What's your view of all this? Yeah, let's have an honest conversation about this.
I mean, in terms of conspiracy theories surrounding Lindsey Graham's death, is that what you're
Well,
asking?
I would say that we got the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories being peddled ever since he was murdered. You've now got the same thing happening with Lindsey Graham, where people a lot of people don't want to believe officialdom at all. Trust has never been lower, I think, in officialdom. But you've also got, I think, bad actors out there now who deliberately peddle this stuff to make money online. And they do it aggressively and they make millions.
Yeah, and I think conspiracy theories are the currency of the internet right now. And I think Waj brought up a great point, which is that we have a panelist on this very panel who did exactly that. Jack, with the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, is an example of somebody peddling abject
I would love to
false
talk about all your
information for
Russia
his own
episodes,
personal
Brian.
profit.
How many times have you done an episode talking about how Donald Trump is controlled by Russia?
Well, he absolutely is controlled by Russia. That's beyond a shadow of a doubt. He was, certainly. He got elected because Russia meddled in the election. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's fucking real. People went to jail over that, and money was recovered, and indictments were filed, and the whole 9 yards. We have the trail, the paper trail, proving Russia meddled in the election. That is not a conspiracy theory at all. But what Posobiec did, that's conspiracy. I covered this previously in another video, so we're not going to go through the whole thing, but just look at the first few seconds of this video.
You were part of that Pizzagate conspiracy theory era. Do you now regret that?
Well, for one, I never said that it was true.
Comet Pizza. Here we go.
There it is. Comet Pizza. Comet Pizza's right there. All right, Roosh has already dialed 9 and 1, and then he's ready to dial the last one. So he's all set for me.
This is how he got famous in the first place.
Did you ever promote it?
No.
Never?
Wow.
No.
You can see the symbol. Remember the symbol on the FBI list. Do you think this is a good idea or what?
Are we gonna survive this trip?
Do you think we're gonna survive? I don't know.
Should we even eat the pizza?
Do you think the supermoon affects what's going on?
With the satanic rituals.
It could. Their powers could be at their highest.
We went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop, and I've said that from the very start.
Okay, so it's like a secret door to get into the bathroom. See that? It's like there's 2 doors here, but you couldn't really tell. No.
There's a secret door to get into the bathroom. You have to know that there's a door there secretly that's hidden so that you can access the bathroom, really?
That there.
I understand that to you this is maybe like a game, but considering that I myself and my staff receive death threats,
It's not a game. Well, you're throwing me out.
I am because you are aiding a dangerous environment.
Jack, hold on a second, Jack. So what you're saying on live television is you have never ever in your entire career promoted the Pizzagate conspiracy. Is that what you're saying on television?
I am saying the exact same thing that I have said since day number 1, and I compared it to Iraq WMDs.
And what does that mean?
Well, what do you think? It means they were fake.
So I am putting out the call right now, guys. James O'Keefe, we need you in here.
So he just flat out fucking lied. Just bald-faced fucking lied. These people are so brazen. They don't give a fuck about the truth or being honest or being caught in their lives. They know that their audience members are going to believe them no matter what. That's the bottom line here.
Why can't you stand up for the words that you've said?
That you have pushed for absolute
Why can't you stand up for the words that you've said?
For absolute years.
Do you stand behind Pizzagate?
For absolute years, your conspiracy theory.
Do you stand behind your own words with Pizzagate? Yes or no?
Destroyed the country.
Yes or no?
This is the right thing. Tyler Brian Cohen is handling this correctly. Completely ignore what Posobiec is saying. Speak over him until he answers the question. Do not let the audience hear what he's trying to communicate because it's propaganda. That's exactly what Posobiec is doing right now.
You had a guy named James T. Hodgkinson who shot up a Republican.
You can't. If you're willing to say these things, why can't you stand behind them?
Field because
he's not a man
filibuster. Why can't you just stand up for your own words? You said them. Why can't you stand up for your own words instead of filibustering?
Okay, hold yourself to your old standards.
See, Brian Tyler Cohen did exactly what he should have, what the other guy should have done, which is hold his feet to the fire. Do not allow him to speak over you and divert the conversation and pivot and redirect to something different. Force him to either answer the question or be ignored, one or the other. That was the right thing.
It's just a fair play. I like to call out everybody, but look, they put a direct thing to you, Jack. You were part of that Pizzagate conspiracy theory era. Do you now regret that?
Well, for one, I never said that it was true, ever. People have put words in my mouth, and people have claimed things I never said.
Did you believe it might be true?
No.
Then why'd you promote it?
Again, see, he's saying promoted. He can't actually point to anything I've said.
Did you ever promote it?
No.
Never?
Wow.
No.
I mean, we just listened to him fully promote it, right? He obviously did. He was famous for it. The balls on him to say some shit like that.
No, we went there to have dinner and to show people that it was a regular shop. And I've said that from the very start.
You also promoted Stops the Steal.
See, again, here we go. So I'm explaining something.
Well, he's given, to be fair to him,
he just jumps over.
To be fair to him, Wajahat and Brian, he's given a very unequivocal response there that he never promoted the Pizzagate thing, which was
it's a flat out lie, though. Obviously, he did.
QAnon theory, obviously, that he never did that. And so, do you guys have
QAnon?
Well, hang on.
I'm in the HBO documentary calling out QAnon.
Right, but I just wondered, do either of you guys actually have any evidence he did promote the Pizzagate theory as a theory?
Piers, he is lying.
Okay, well, show me the evidence.
What do you mean the evidence is his entire career? What are you talking about?
No, that's not good enough. No, Wajahat, you can't do that. If you guys are going to accuse him,
Does Piers Morgan really not know this? That he's like famous for this? That this is the thing that shot him to fame in the first place? By the way, Bookforge, hang on, I'm sorry. Let me just close some of these tabs because there are a lot of them. I need to grab that. Done with that. Done with this for now. Done with this. Close. I'm sorry, just a second here. What's this? I'm gonna keep this open. I guess I'll keep this open too. Okay, good. Hold on. I just want to pull up, let's see, Hell World finished. Let's see how it sounds on the new model. Or not. Hello? There we go.
And skin. It seemed to pulse slowly, with a life of its own, and had an unpleasant, fleshy feel. The squad took turns scraping it off each other's backs and shoulders. No wonder there weren't any birds or animals in the forest, said Hunter finally. The forest must have eaten them all. That damn stuff's got the perfect camouflage. You don't realize you're in any danger till you're right in the middle of it. He turned to DeChance. What can you sense now, Esper? DeChance frowned. Nothing clear. Hunger, rage, pain, and other things I don't recognize. If they're emotions, they've no human equivalent. What are we going to do now, Captain? William's voice was polite, but pointed. We can't go through the forest, but going round it will add miles to our route.
It's bad at dialogue. I need to figure out how to handle that. I think I have an idea for how I'm going to manage that. I need to train it on actual dialogue. That's pretty good, though. You know what? I'm going to try running it through a different model. I'm curious how it will sound because... Hell World. Yeah, I'm going to delete these renders, and I'm going to fix the model. And for now, I'm going to run it through the Mistborn model. Skip. 1 second. I'm sorry. Mistborn. Good. Next. Add to queue. Start. Okay, let's continue. Sorry.
Accuse him directly of promoting one of the most outrageous conspiracy theories in modern history. At least provide some evidence. I mean,
really? Come on. Does Piers really not know this?
Tell me where he has promoted it.
Jack Posobiec's
They're on
entire career.
ChatGPT right now trying to find something. Why would you make a claim like
for
that
sure.
against Jack if you don't have evidence right away?
I don't know if he did or
off the
didn't.
top
I'm
of your
relying on
head.
you two who
It
made
should
the
be off
charge
the
to
top of your
provide
head
evidence.
for you making a claim like that. You should be right off the top of your head. You shouldn't have to look down and do your research on the...
Why the fuck wouldn't you want to look this up to prove it? I don't understand. What are you talking about?
I don't
you
mind
made
if
the
they even.
claim.
I do, to be honest, Brandon. I don't mind if they do want to check it, but I don't know the answer for certain. But you guys are the ones accusing him, so I think it's only fair to ask you: do you have any evidence he promoted the Pizzagate theory?
I will find it right now.
Okay, but you don't have any at the moment.
No, I don't fucking keep clips in my pocket. Where the fuck do you think you find clips? On the internet, dipshit. Obviously, he doesn't have a fucking clip in his head. You want him to pull out glasses and project it from his fucking memories?
Jack, wait. Jack, hold on a second, Jack. So what you're saying on live television is you have never, ever in your entire career promoted the Pizzagate conspiracy. You are not in any way, shape, or form responsible for mainstreaming it, promoting it, in any way, shape, or form, making it famous, injecting into the right-wing ecosystem. Is that what you're saying on television?
Now, the correct move is to, from a media standpoint, pivot away. You don't have to address what he just asked you. He asked a direct question. If Jack Posobiec is a good media person, what he would say is, I'm saying there is nothing to Pizzagate. Pizzagate was damaging and blah, 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 blah. But he did promote it. So you're just sidestepping and avoiding the real question. Let's see if that's what he does. That's what a good media person would do.
Saying the exact same thing that I have said since day number one to anyone who asked. You can go and look up my statement to the Washington Post back, I believe it was December of 2016, and I compared it to Iraq WMDs.
And what does that mean?
Well, what do you think? It means they were fake.
Okay. So, all right, if that's what you're saying, interesting.
With 10 years, almost 10 years. But nobody ever actually looks at what I've said. They just do what you do.
Again, we played the clip, so.
I have a quote from Jack.
They just smear. It's all you guys do.
I have a quote from Jack.
Okay.
So this is what Jack said with regard to the pizza place that there was a claim that there was a sex trafficking ring in the basement of. You know why people use walkie-talkies? In the Navy, we used to use walkie-talkies a lot over cell phones. You know why? Because walkie-talkies can go through different levels in the ship. So if he's communicating with somebody, like in a tunnel or in a basement of another place in the area, that would be a perfect way to communicate with each other.
What are you talking about? Like, you're
this
not
is
even
this
providing
idea that a
direct
pizza
evidence.
placement,
You
that
have
a pizza
nothing.
place that didn't have a
Piers,
basement.
So now Jack Posobiec's plan is to talk over him and mock him and pretend that this was about something completely unrelated. Yeah, this is all media training stuff. This is all shit that you learn as a media expert, quote unquote.
These guys
You
have
said the
nothing.
words, and I quote, "The
These guys
pizza
have
itself
nothing.
is legit. What's going on in the back is the issue."
Yeah, that's my point.
That was your
I said
comment.
I went there to show people it was a regular restaurant.
Okay, he literally just proved that you were saying that it was some evil fucking sex trafficking cabal, and you're lying here. You're pretending that you never said that.
So what was going on in the back?
I went on to show people it was a regular restaurant. That's why I went there. I
So
left.
when you said what's
and I
going on in the
never,
back is an
ever
issue, what
went
did you
back
mean?
There.
Yeah, really hold his feet to the fire. Do not allow him to get away with this. There you go.
I never ever went in to promote anything like that. It was an idea that I had to try to reach out to people who were wondering about this on the internet.
Fucking please.
To just go there, order some food, sit down with a friend, and show them it was a regular
Explain
spot.
your comment. What's going on in the back is the issue.
Was the issue
What's going
that
on in
people
the
were
back?
talking about.
I've been there. I've been to that pizza place.
So have I.
What's going on in the back, Jack? Because I went there. You know what was going on in the back? They were making pizza and people were playing ping pong. And you know what happened?
Yeah,
I
actually didn't even go back there. I
People
just
don't know
sat
what's
down.
happening in pizza.
Yeah, so I don't know what was going on back there. They could have been sex trafficking. What a piece of shit.
Pizzagate, based on this conspiracy
Yeah,
and
again, you guys
radicalized
don't have any
demand
direct
to come
evidence
with
at all.
a
You
gun to
provided
that
nothing.
pizza parlor.
I just read a
man
quote
came
of
with
you
a gun.
saying what's going on in the back is the issue.
No, you guys are saying that that is the same as equating this to some kind of grand trafficking conspiracy.
That is exactly what he did.
You just don't have it. You don't
That's
have it.
literally
You just
what it is. When
literally
you say
look
what's
at
going on in the
headlines,
back is the
you look
issue,
at
that is
headlines,
equating it to a grand
and you're
conspiracy
playing
theory.
games rather than actually looking at what I did. And
Jack, you are
know,
doing what
Jack, I read a
Candace
direct
Owens
quote.
is doing right now. You did what
Again,
Candace
I'm
Owens is doing
also
right
telling
now.
you that you can go to the Washington Post and look at my statement on the record from December
I see
2016.
it. I see it right now. So does Brian. Listen, you did.
You guys comparing
what you're
notes?
accusing Candace Owens of doing right now with Pizzagate.
So,
Candace Owens
so
is doing
look,
it
my
with
team,
Charlie
my
Kirk.
team, look, my team have been checking this.
Also compared it to Benghazi.
They say, Jack, that you on X apparently you tweeted claims such as, and they're quoting directly, Pizzagate may be bigger than we suspected. That was just days before a gunman targeted the restaurant.
Congratulations, Jack.
I'd have to look at that. I don't recall that.
I don't fucking recall that. What a fucking weasel. Genuinely. What a fucking weasel. He knows full well that he's lying. He knows he's lying here. His entire career, his whole life is a lie, a sham, an intentional deception. What does it feel like for that to be your entire legacy, your entire career?
That's on my Twitter.
You can't both condemn Candace Owens for spreading conspiracy theories while you are guilty of the exact same phenomenon that she is.
For the record, what happened there is regretful. What happened there is terrible.
What happened where? In Pizzagate? Is that what he's saying? I mean, he was responsible for that.
Should never have happened. And in many ways, me going there, I think, and then seeing what happened afterwards, and I'm being honest. That's why I went there. That's why I went in to
He's so full of shit, dude.
Show people that it was a regular place. It got spun totally out of control.
I guess the point is...
And here's my response. Here's my response. That's why when QAnon came up, I came at it very forcefully, very, very hard.
No, he didn't.
And even agreed to go on HBO to speak out against it from the right.
Again, QAnon did not exist until after Pizzagate. It was the inspiration, Pizzagate was, for QAnon to exist. And he contributed to that. He created that.
Okay.
After the fact, right? Yeah, after the fact, after you promoted it, and it led to a man.
I don't
who, by
agree
the way,
that I promoted it.
honestly
I'm sorry, I just don't agree that I promoted it.
Real quick, for
I
people
don't-
He's such a piece of shit.
who don't know what happened at Pizzagate.
Yeah.
A
So,
man
so
literally
remind
thought-
viewers who know nothing about Pizzagate what it was.
Thanks to Jack and others, specifically conspiracy theorists who profited off of
But
this
no,
lie.
this was
what happened
incredibly-
was,
See, this is what happens. Every time somebody says something Jack doesn't like, he just starts talking over them, completely ignoring like the rules or etiquette or respect or anything at all. And he just starts blaming them for something. This is classic media technique to pivot to a different subject or to blame somebody for something else when you are being blamed for something.
Viral. And by the way, my tweets and videos were not getting big views back then.
I'll let you respond.
And
let
this
me just
was
respond to
very
Pierce.
viral.
There you go. Yeah. He needs to talk over Jack.
Well, let Jack explain what it was.
Let me
so
respond
that
to
people know what
Pierce.
it is.
Well, I don't want to lie about me.
Based off this right-wing lie and conspiracy theory, which was a lie, and people made money off this lie. One man who was not crazy, a man drives to this pizza parlor. I've been to it in Washington, D.C. with a gun. He gets out of his car and he says, "Where are the children? I have to save the children." People said, "Sir,
Yeah,
this
but
is a pizza parlor."
explain what the original conspiracy theory was.
The conspiracy was that Hillary Clinton and Democrats were actually using the basement of the pizza parlor for their international sex trafficking ring. This man, who was, watching right-wing media, who wasn't crazy, sincerely believed that he was going there to save children from the...
He wasn't crazy, is the problem. It radicalized people who were genuinely just normal people who had not fully lost the plot. The problem is that it wasn't just a bunch of Looney Tunes doing insane shit. It was genuinely believed by a lot of fucking people.
Liberals, QAnon, then it merged with the deep state, and this is why so many in the right wing said, Donald Trump, you're going to release the Epstein files, and it's going to prove QAnon, is going to prove the deep state. But Donald Trump is all up in the Epstein files, which is why he has not released the Epstein files. And the person who in part was not the only one, but helped fan the flames on social media and other places, is Jack Posobiec, who now has the audacity to say that Candace Owens...
Let Jack respond.
I'm willing. Look, I had this conversation. Would you, and I've condemned the violence, and I said that what happened is regretful. Are you guys willing to say...
What happened is regretful. What you mean is what I did was wrong. That's what you should be saying. What I did was wrong. Very different from what happened is regretful.
Saying the same thing about the Russiagate shooter in 2017 at the baseball field in D.C.
Wait, you talking about the one that took a shot at Bernie fucking Sanders? Is that who he's referring to? Like, you talking about the guy who targeted Democrats? Why would we be sorry for that? That we didn't have anything to do with that. That was, once again, a right-winger. Aside from all of that, Russiagate was real. I really want to lean into this and reiterate. Russiagate was real. That shit really happened. Donald Trump really worked with Russia, or at least accepted Russia's help, winning the election.
And about the murder of Charlie Kirk that were done by the violent left.
No, that literally none of that is true.
Are you willing to say that as well?
There's an investigation happening right now. There's a trial.
The correct answer from a media perspective for him would be, why don't you tell me about Pizzagate? Flip it back around. I'm not saying that's the honest way to do it, but that's how you do it in from a media perspective.
Let me say something, Pierce. Let me say something, Pierce. Hold on. Let me say something, Pierce.
Brandon, yep.
Do you got the two liberals on the show? Do you think that Charlie Kirk was a racist?
He was absolutely racist as fucking shit. Yes.
Yes, he said that black people were better off during slavery.
No. Do you think that Charlie Kirk spewed hatred?
Yeah, I'll say it to you. He thought you, as a black man, were better off during slavery.
The foolery that you're saying right now is what got him killed. The leftist nut job.
Oh, we're not allowed to give our opinions on things? Is that wrong? Is that against the law here in the United States? Giving our opinions?
Pushing the same stupidity that you're saying right now is the reason why Tyler Robinson killed Charlie. This is exactly the same thing. You should be condemned.
So you're saying you can't criticize
for saying
somebody?
Something silly.
So you're saying
you can't lie. You cannot lie about them.
You literally can lie about somebody. That is literally legal. That is okay to do. What the fuck are you smoking? You can't lie about somebody? Yes, you can.
Criticism. If you level any criticism of somebody, then you are responsible for their death?
You can't lie about them. The lies is what caused a person like Tyler Robinson to kill Charlie. Lies. He was not racist.
He absolutely was.
Was not hateful. He did not spew hate. He was a man of courage. He had integrity, and he was fair.
No.
If you disagree with him, he let you come to the front of the line, and you can have your disagreement.
Brandon, Charlie Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Now, listen, 100%.
Wow. Okay. You know, the story about Uncle Tom's Cabin was actually not what people think it was about. I've never read it before, but to my understanding, Uncle Tom's Cabin was about somebody who was willing to just work within the system and accept things for how they were. Not somebody who was a traitor to the other people in the minority group. Even though it's kind of taken that way now. That was just a completely unrelated side fact that I found interesting.
You believe 100%?
Now what? Wait,
you were
after
better off
slavery. Let
So
me
you're
explain,
saying
because
you would
maybe
be
you don't
better
know
off
Black history.
during slavery?
No. You don't understand Black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the Black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to...
Oh, yeah. I had Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Until the KKK came in and burned down Black Wall Street. That wasn't fantastic.
The women we had children with, Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time. Now look at us. Now go look at any inner city in this country, and you see people getting murdered every weekend. The leading cause of murders in this country is by Black people. Violent crimes, Black people.
No, this is complete nonsense. He's using the 1350 argument. Wow, the racism from this fucking guy is wild. 13% of the population commit 50% of the crimes, or the violent crimes, or the murders, or whatever other thing you want to blame Black people for. First of all, those statistics are inaccurate. That's incorrect. That's not true in any way. And second, even if it were true, it would mean one of two things. If Black people were disproportionately represented in crime statistics, it would be because of one of two things. Either it's environmental, poverty is the leading cause of crime in this country. Maybe we raise them up out of poverty. If it's environmental like that, it's fixable. It's one of two things, either environmental or it's genetic. And if it's genetic, if they're just more violent genetically, then you're a Nazi. That's what the Nazis believed, incorrectly. So what's the excuse here? Are you saying you as a Black person are genetically inferior to white people? Is that what you're trying to communicate? If it's environmental, it's fixable. We inject money into their communities. We give them reparations. We rise them up out of poverty. We do affirmative action to make sure they're treated fairly. But you're giving me the genetic argument right now, or you're giving me the genetic solution. If it were genetic, if they were just inferior to white people, then we would go with your solution.
Abortion at disproportionate rates, Black people. A lot of things that were going well in our communities is going downhill fast.
I'm sorry, abortion at disproportionate rates. Who gives a fuck? Those are personal choices.
Black people. A lot of things that were going well in our communities is going downhill fast after the 60s. And it's because we've been voting for these sorry Democrats for so many years, and they've done nothing for Black people. And you cannot tell me...
Right, because Republicans, the political party that the Ku Klux Klan votes for, those guys, they're going to do a lot to help the Black community, you see.
As somebody who knew Charlie, that he was a racist. He wasn't. I knew him very well. We did a whole bunch of incredible things in the Black community.
But I don't give a fuck what you knew about Charlie Kirk. He was racist.
Community. He helped out with Blexit, our Black nonprofit that helped the Black community. We took 400 Black conservatives to the White House for the first time in history. So don't you say nothing about Charlie being a racist unless you have evidence. Outside of that, you're lying and you're pushing conspiracies that got Charlie Kirk killed.
What does this have to do with literally anything? I'm just so fucking lost right now.
Charlie Kirk said that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. He said that
I agree
Martin
with him.
Luther King Jr. was awful and not a good person.
I agree with him. As a black man in America,
that's
looking
on
at
you.
history,
That's
I
your
agree with him.
prerogative to say that, but you don't get to say because you agree with him that somehow that wasn't a racist thing to say. You are not racist. Like, you are not the.
How is it racist to say the civil rights movement was bad? That Martin Luther King Jr., a civil rights icon for the black community, was a bad person? How is... Are you kidding me right now? Is he really that fucking stupid? Is there anything between those ears?
Arbiter of what is or isn't racist just because you agree with something that is objectively racist.
You're not the arbiter of somebody having an opinion about a certain policy that's been put in place where he has evidence. When you cannot deny what he's saying is true.
You absolutely can.
Luther King was
absolutely
a whoremonger.
I can.
Martin Luther King pushed communism. Martin Luther King was a whoremonger, and those are the things that Charlie Kirk was speaking about. He was doing an orgy the day before he gets assassinated.
You just argued that slavery was like a net positive for black people.
No, I didn't.
He literally did. Yes, he literally actually did argue that. Charlie Kirk said the black community was better off under slavery, and he defended that statement just now.
Well, first of all, if you had any common sense, if you have any common sense, nobody said slavery was a net positive. I said black people's explosion of success after slavery was a testament to this country, the country's values.
No, he literally defended Charlie Kirk saying slavery was that black people were better off under slavery.
And how we were doing well, and now you look at the black community and it's failing. So you tell me how that's wrong.
Brandon,
economic
that was a violent leftist that killed Charlie, and they won't condemn it. They just won't condemn the violence. We can disagree.
Oh my God, Jack Posobiec has had his mouth shut for too fucking long, and now wants to cram his opinions down everyone's throats.
You can disagree with Charlie.
Well, let me ask that question. Let me ask that question of Wajahat and Brian. Wajahat, do you condemn the violence that was perpetrated against Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Yes, it was horrific. It was horrific. Nobody, I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but you know what? I'll give Charlie Kirk one credit. Charlie Kirk said what he said. He tweeted it. He put it on TikTok. He put it on YouTube. He stood 10 toes down. He goes, I'm saying all these hateful things, racist things like black people were better off during slavery.
Here we go.
I believe in this. I have the courage of my convictions.
It's not racist to say black people were better off during slavery and the civil rights movement was a mistake. That's not racist. These people live in another reality.
That's what I respect about Charlie Kirk. He said it. He didn't backtrack from it. What happened to him, which was a horrific murder, should be condemned. Because no one should be killed based upon their...
by your mother, dipshit.
What was the motive?
First Amendment right to free speech.
So what was the
He
motive?
was murdered, most likely, allegedly, by Tyler Robinson. He's the only suspect.
For what
Tyler
motive?
Robinson, in part, was allegedly radicalized. He is a white man from a conservative family.
No, he wasn't
We
a
don't know what
radicalized white
completely.
nationalist, which
He's
I
not
get
a
the
member
game
of the
that you're
radical
trying
left.
to play here.
He's not a member of the radical left. The FBI said, and I'm quoting, Tyler Robinson did what he did for violent, nihilist, extremist reasons. It's an FBI category, VNE or whatever, VNEs. They want to get their name in a history book, so they do something psychotic. It was not because he was a left-wing radical. It wasn't because of any of that shit.
And what Brandon is saying...
He's definitely a part of the radical left.
Brandon, I just want to go back to this. Brandon,
the motive
can
is
I just say
on
something
the
in
bullets.
response? I answered your question.
The bullets were obviously a Helldivers meme. I mean, if you've ever played Helldivers, it's clear as day that they were a Helldivers meme. I mean, I believe Tyler Robinson even said they're going to argue over these ridiculous carvings for, like, years. He's a violent nihilist extremist who wanted to be talked about, according to the FBI. He wanted his name in the history books. He wanted attention. He wanted to be known for something because he believed that it was kind of all for nothing if you weren't famous to some degree.
Motive into the bullets he used to shoot Charlie.
I answered the question. Let me ask this because I
You
want
said he
this
was
for
a
the internet.
radicalized white. You didn't answer the question. You danced around it.
Brandon, Charlie Kirk, your friend, said you, as a black man, were better off during slavery. Do you agree with that statement?
100%, I understand what he was saying. I just articulated
Do you agree
to
with it?
the perspective that he had. Just because you don't understand history and you look at everything in the lens as black people are the ultimate victims in perpetuity, don't.
Nobody ever said black people are the ultimate victims in perpetuity, but the black community is absolutely persecuted and has been since forever in the United States. What the fuck are you talking about?
Mean that Charlie Kirk can have an expression of something I agree with him on.
Like, no one said he can't have an opinion. It's this Tate dude, or Tatum, or whatever the fuck, who's saying you can't have an opinion. Didn't he just say you can't have an opinion on Charlie Kirk, otherwise you're responsible for his death?
You're sitting here trying to tell a black man that I can't agree with Charlie Kirk on the fact that I think that black people were in a better trajectory.
No one is telling a black man to do anything or be anything or believe anything. But if you believe that the black community was better off under slavery and and the civil rights movement was a mistake, you are racist. Period. You are racist for that.
When we were in the 30s
During
after
slavery.
He
He said during slavery.
You're lying. He said
He
after
said
slavery.
you were better off during slavery.
No, he did not. Show me the proof, and I'll give you $1,000.
All right, let's go.
You don't have it. Ain't no way in the world.
I'm curious. Let's see if I can find out. Because I don't want them to just go, like, leave this behind and forget about it. Hold on. Give me a second. Hang on. All right. I'll see if I can find the answer to this. Let's keep listening, though.
World tried to say we're better in slavery. He said after slavery. It's a whole sentiment around it. And black people understand this. History reflects this. Thomas Sowell expressed this. Black people were in a trajectory on a path doing better than white people. Anybody can fact check that. We had millionaires. We had people who were very successful. Black Wall Street, you name it. We had a lot of production. We were teaching our own schools. We had our own transportation. We owned our own companies, entertainment, you name it, we had it. It wasn't until we began to integrate in a way that Martin Luther King thought was best that we begin to see the degradation of the black community.
And by the way,
so what I'm reading here, I'm not actually sure. I'm still looking.
Race wasn't part of this conversation until you injected it. Again, Charlie was white, the shooter was white. The ideology did not have to do with race. It had to do with him being a left-wing, pro-trans
No
activist.
facts, Jack. There's no facts to that. Not
There's
yet.
no
There's
facts.
I'm sorry.
There's no facts. There's evidence in court. I went to court and watched them unveil the evidence. The hatred against Christians, the hatred against Donald Trump.
No, that's nonsense. He didn't hate Christians. He didn't hate Trump, any of that shit, to my understanding.
The hatred against Charlie Kirk.
I do find it fascinating, though, that Tyler Robinson is viewed as a right-winger, as a groiper. Everybody seems to believe that he's a groiper. Like, my mom, a Jehovah's Witness, knows absolutely nothing about the case because she just, she's not political at all. And she thought that the dude was a groiper. She thought that the dude was on the right. Not a groiper specifically. She doesn't know what that is. But she thought that the guy who killed Charlie Kirk was on the right. She was in Sri Lanka at an international Jehovah's Witness convention when she found out Charlie Kirk died. People in Sri Lanka were saying, oh my God, Charlie Kirk died. And my mom was like, who the fuck is Charlie Kirk? Without the swearing, obviously. She's a Jehovah's Witness. But anyway, she had no idea who he was until she was in Sri Lanka hearing Sri Lankans talk about it. It was wild. Dude is closer to being Uncle Ruckus. Yeah, definitely. I've never seen that show, but I'm familiar with the character. He's looking here. Hang on. Hang on. Okay, here's the answer. The definitive answer. I'm getting fucking blown up by stupid fucking TikTok advertisements. Why the fuck is TikTok advertising me? I don't even use TikTok. I have blocked the TikTok account like 16 times, and it just completely fucking ignores the fact that I block it. Anyway. Here is actually what happened. What was said. In Jubilee, in 2024, I believe. Yeah, September 2024. Charlie Kirk said they were better off in the 1940s. During Jim Crow. I guess it depends on what you mean by better off. When you say better off, do you mean they were persecuted terribly, they were segregated, they were forced to drink from blacks and whites only water fountains? Do you mean that the black community was not allowed to work in like certain sectors, that they were made fun of and treated like like animals? That if they walked into certain establishments or areas, they would literally have a gun pulled on them and have their brains blown out? Is that what you mean by better off? Because that's not my definition of better off. You mean they had to stick together because they were being persecuted so violently and viciously? So they tended not to get divorces, and they tended to stay in close-knit communities because they were so terribly mistreated by others? Okay, yeah, sure, I suppose. If that's what you mean by better off, all right. That's what Charlie Kirk actually said, 1940s. That's fucking disgusting for him to have said, by the way. Still racist, because you're completely ignoring the underlying racial tensions and issues that the black community was dealing with at the time. And you're looking at raw numbers that don't even mean anything or matter anyway. Like, why do I give a fuck if marriage rates are higher in the black community or the white community or whoever the fuck else? I don't care. Are they persecuted less now than they were in the 1940s? They are persecuted less today, without a doubt. That's better off, in my opinion. So that's the argument that Charlie Kirk gave. They are absolutely not better off back then, under Jim Crow, than they are today. Kirk said the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. That's absolutely true. He did say that. Apparently, we shouldn't have civil rights. Apparently, the black community doesn't have the right to be equal to the white community. Kirk said Martin Luther King Jr. was awful and not a good person. He absolutely did say that, yes.
On the bullets.
Like, by the way, all that shit's racist. That's all racist. That's all racist, vile garbage from Charlie Kirk. He was a racist piece of shit.
The hatred against Donald Trump, the hatred against Charlie Kirk, the etchings on the bullets of the Antifa anthem, as well as "Hey Fascist Catch."
Again, those things were from Helldivers too. Nothing to do with his left-wing or right-wing position or whatever.
These are facts.
Well, I'm going to check, actually, in real time, whether Charlie Kirk did say that black people were better in the time of slavery. So we're going to find that out as we talk. But Wajahat, I just want to talk to you about general language and discourse, particularly when public figures die. Because you wrote a Substack this week, the moment Lindsey Graham died, saying he was a terrible man who sold his soul.
Oh, shit, dude. Oh, damn. That's rough. After all this Charlie Kirk talk, that's not a good thing to bring up for him.
For relevance, was
Yes.
it worth it? You said he was a duplicitous, spineless political cretin, willing to sacrifice his soul and convictions to cozy up to power and relevance. The guy had just died. Does no part of you think, when Donald Trump attacked, Rob Reiner, for example, or Robert Mueller when he died, or John McCain, or Colin Powell, I've always criticised it and said I think it's awful to speak ill of the dead the moment they die. Short of people being Adolf Hitler or someone who's killed, 12 million people, then obviously they're in a different stratosphere. But when you've got a public servant like Lindsey Graham, who did a lot of stuff across the aisle, people have been talking about that a lot. I interviewed him with John McCain, with Joe Lieberman, actually, and they talked about all this. He's had an extraordinary life privately of service and stuff to his family and to his...
He was a piece of shit.
Country. Can you not compartmentalize the good and bad? And can you not hold off calling this guy, a duplicitous, spineless political cretin within hours of him dying? Because isn't that part of the problem here? One of the reasons that people get radicalized, why they want to use violence to take out people, is because this constant bombardment from the left and right of this kind of language, even when people have just died.
I used to believe that living through the Trump administration and this era, this QAnon era, has changed the way I view the morals of politics. In an ideal world, we would never speak ill of the dead. In an ideal world, we would never, say anything negative about anybody personally. We can criticize the things that they say, but attacking them personally, like, in an ideal world, we wouldn't do that. But we don't live in an ideal world anymore. Or if we ever did. We live in a world where we are in a literal fascist state right now. And people are being whipped into a blood frenzy right now over insane conspiracy theory garbage. So my kind of moral line for what we say and when and who we respect and who we don't respect has moved back a little bit in the past 5 years. After seeing what Trump has done, especially in the past 2 years, or year even. After seeing what Trump has done, after seeing what Jack Posobiec is willing to do, how low he's willing to go to hurt others, my moral line, I'm reevaluating it. I'm reevaluating where I stand. Is it really wrong to state plainly that somebody who has just died was genuinely an evil human being? I don't think so. Not right now. I feel like in the environment in which we live right now, with literal fascism, literally people going to actual concentration camps, I feel like civility signaling is going to hurt our ability to destroy fascism in the country.
It was natural diseases that took out Lindsey Graham. I don't believe the right-wing conspiracies, and I believe
Nor
we treat
do
him
I,
in
but
death.
what's that got to do with what you said?
I believe we treat these political figures in death the way they live their life. The reason why the...
Absolutely. I completely agree. If they are racist, vile, hateful pieces of shit, maybe try not doing that if you want a good reputation in death.
entire world, literally on the jump when it was announced that he passed away. I was awake at 2:30. The reason why the entire world brought up his own receipts, his own rhetoric, was because he lived his life as a genocidal warmonger, as a person who literally said that Gaza should be leveled, as a person who promoted phase 4 starvation against Palestinians, as a person who cheerled this illegal, unwinnable war in Iran. You had a fantastic interview with Naftali Bennett. As a person who said we're in a holy war. No one ever brings up those quotes as people, children, are literally dying. Who was the #1 cheerleader of that war that's going on right now? Lindsey Graham. Who was the cheerleader of Israel's occupation of Palestinians and the genocide in Gaza? Lindsey Graham. Who literally...
Notice these people aren't saying a goddamn word. Isn't that interesting? They're not interrupting him like Jack Posobiec has been doing all fucking night. They're just letting him speak for the first time. Huh. Wonder why. Why do you think that is?
Did a complete 180. He was the man, Lindsey Graham, in 2015, 2016, who said that he was the one, used hateful language. He called Donald Trump a xenophobe. He called Donald Trump a hate monger, a bigot. And then Donald Trump was perfectly fine golfing with this man. Apparently, if Lindsey Graham was a Democrat, he would be calling him a radical leftist. But Lindsey Graham warned accurately what would happen to America and the Republican Party if Donald Trump was elected.
All right, let me bring in...
Then Lindsey Graham said, wait for a second, why call him a hypocrite? Then Lindsey Graham said, well, hey, Lindsey Graham, you warned about Donald Trump for 10 years. Why are you now literally a remora on his anus? And Lindsey Graham said, well, I want to be relevant. I want to be relevant. So, yes, a hypocrite that.
Do you think Barack Obama was Barack Obama a duplicitous, spineless political cretin willing to sacrifice his soul and convictions? I'm thinking specifically of campaigning to shut down Guantanamo Bay, then keeping it open, of running one of the biggest illegal...
I'm not sure what that has to... What's he talking about? I don't know what he... Is he saying that Barack Obama is the same as Lindsey Graham? They don't have the same beliefs. They haven't done the same things. They don't advocate for the same causes. They're not the same in any way, shape, or form.
Drone programs in American history of deporting 3 million people, more pro rata per year than any president of American history, and so on. In other words, you know, is Saint Barack someone who spared the wrath of Wajahat
Saint Barack
Ali because he's on your side? Or did you write the same thing about... Would you write the same thing about him? The moment Obama dies, would you be straight out with a Substack, hammering him using the same language you've used?
Everything you just said about Obama, I criticized him during his presidency, and an honest assessment of his legacy upon his death would include everything you just said.
Okay.
A historic president.
Well, I look forward to reading that, because I don't
elected.
think you'd use the same vicious language, but maybe
And
you
you know
will.
what?
Maybe you will.
I don't play.
Maybe you will.
I don't
Let
play
me
this
ask
game.
Jack. In the meantime, I'm going to come to Jack for a response, but we've checked this. Charlie Kirk did not say that black people were better off in slavery. There was a manipulated video clip circulating on social media that created that false impression. This originated from a September 2024 debate hosted by Jubilee Media. During the debate, he discussed historical periods of subjugation, specifically pointing to black communities under Jim Crow laws in the 1940s. What he actually argued, he said that during the 1940s, black communities had lower crime rates and greater family stability than they do today.
And they were terribly persecuted and mistreated and held at gunpoint and shot in the fucking face and accused of rape regularly. If they looked at a white woman, yeah. Much better off.
He used this rhetorically to argue against the idea that systemic oppression or poverty are the only drivers of crime. He asserted that if oppression directly caused high crime, crime rates would have been sky high during eras of severe oppression, which he claimed historical data did not show. So, you know, he's not saying that black people were better off in slavery, clearly.
But during segregation.
Well, no, he's not. He's talking about periods in the 1940s, which is what you're talking about.
That's during segregation, dipshit.
So during segregation, and he was also against the civil rights movement.
You said slavery.
Okay.
So I will.
Why are you changing the goalposts?
Wait. I'll do something in real time.
Take the loss for Jihad. You've literally spewed a conspiracy theory that came from a manipulated video which perpetrated a false impression of what Charlie Kirk actually said.
I'll do it in real time. Something that Jack and Brandon could do. Thank you for fact checking. I saw that video. You fact checked it. I stand corrected.
Okay,
but
good.
The fact shows
do you
that,
apologize?
Yeah, right? But But the facts show
Do you
that
apologize?
he said black people are
Do
better
you
off during
apologize?
segregation, and
Don't
he was
change
against
the
the civil
goalposts.
rights movement.
Do you apologize?
Absolutely. You fact-checked it. Thank you so much. But he did say black people are better off during segregation, and he opposed the
To
civil rights
apologize,
movement.
you actually have to say, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, dude. Fucking please. He still said the black community was better off during segregation. It doesn't make it much better. He's acting like he got a W.
I, Wajat Ali, am sorry. I probably saw that same video. This is what
Okay,
happens
good.
on the internet.
All right, we're
Thank
getting
you
somewhere.
for fact-checking.
We're getting
Thank
somewhere.
you for fact-checking.
Let me ask, Jack, what did you...
He shouldn't have conceded that. He should have pointed out that it's not much better.
What do you think about what Wajahat said about Lindsey Graham?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I as a, you know, sort of new right conservative, I personally didn't also
New right conservative, really? You think you're some kind of a fucking trailblazer or something?
did not agree with a lot of the neoconservative views of Lindsey Graham. I, you know, certainly thought that he went way too far in his support for a lot of these wars that have been going on. You mentioned a few of them. Probably some other ones I would bring up, as a matter of fact. But Iraq, for example, or Benghazi, Libya. But at the same time,
What? I'm sorry. What's he talking about? With Benghazi and Libya and whatever? Is he saying that? Is he trying to make it out like Hillary Clinton is like guilty of some stupid shit or whatever? Hillary Clinton did nothing wrong in Libya. Give it a fucking rest, please.
I do think that put it this way, having sat through a week in the courtroom and being there with Charlie's mother and father and his widow, it's a reminder to all of us, and you know, looking at this Ann Widdecombe news, which is it's really all over the place here.
It's appalling.
And it's horrific, and it does remind me that maybe there's time to, maybe you should just pump the brakes sometimes. Pump the brakes sometimes and say, you know what, everybody's a human being. And by the way, Tyler Robinson's parents were in the courtroom as well. And for people who obviously have called for all the way up to and including the death penalty for him, it's one thing to say about something about someone online, but it's totally different when you see them in person, you see their family, you see that it affects real people.
Okay, I want to end, because Brian, we haven't got to your book, The Day After How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. You label ICE, Trump's secret police. You call MAGA neo-fascists. Trump is repeatedly referred to as a dictator.
All of that's accurate.
I guess I would ask the same question to you. Is that, you know, a lot of people on the left have very happily called Trump a Nazi, fascist, and so on and so on.
He absolutely is.
Does that help in the general...
I don't give a fuck if it helps. That is absolutely true.
A level of discourse in America? Or could that all be tempered as well?
I mean, I think if you want to derive the benefit of not being called a fascist, you shouldn't act like one. And I mean, you can start off with Donald Trump's own vice president, who used harsher language than certainly I've used, which is that Donald Trump is America's Hitler. So again, I think when we're watching Donald Trump move to consolidate power, ignore the courts, ignore other branches of government, seek to entrench his own authority, then you don't get the benefit of not being able to be called a fascist. I'm not arguing that Donald Trump is akin to Adolf Hitler. I'm not arguing that he is akin to these other figures who've laid waste to entire populations of people. But I am arguing that he does engage in fascist behavior. And so again, if you don't want that label to be affixed to you, then you have to act in a certain way, and he doesn't get that benefit.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for a very spirited panel.
Wow, fascinating.
I enjoyed that debate a lot, and I think we may all take something away from it. So thank you all very much.
The end.
Pierce.
Thank you, Pierce.
Thank you.
God bless, Pierce.
Congressman.
All right. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Those people were so fucking full of shit. It was ridiculous, dude. All right. I want to listen to Killing America. Actually, hold on. Killing America. Yeah, here we are. We're on chapter 4, I believe.
The forces of the dark age.
Nope. Hold on. Chapter 4. Yes, the facade, drawing the line. Here we are. Okay.
Chapter 4, Drawing the Line.
There's this book titled Killing America by this dude named Gene Bailey. It's this far-right extremist nutcase book. It's wild. We're going to give this a listen. This stands independently of the rest if you didn't see the other parts, but we're on Chapter 4. Drawing the Line. This is where Trump, honest-hearted, good, hard-working Trump supporters should draw the line against the evil communists.
Sometimes, enough is enough. You have to draw the line. Then, having done all to stand, as the scriptures say, stand. Even if standing means taking a black eye or a bloody nose. Remember back when we were kids at recess or at the ballpark, and some big kid was bullying everyone? Finally, a brave kid stepped up and called the bully out. Heated words were exchanged, threats were made. "Who's gonna stop me?" asked the ever-confident bully. "I am," the brave kid responded. "All right, make me." The showdown was on. The brave kid drew a line in the dirt with his foot, or a stick, and crossing his arms, he declared through gritted teeth, "You better not cross this line, or else."
Okay, this is an oddly specific scenario that I have never faced. Somebody literally draws a line in sand and tells him to cross it? I've never heard that before.
There are times in life when something rises up in us, and we have to draw a line to make a stand against or for something. As adults, we draw different kinds of lines that are far more significant than those on the playground. We've all heard people say things like, "You can mess with me, but if you mess with my family, that's the line you don't cross." When it comes to the killing of America and saving our freedoms, we have to ask ourselves, where do we draw the line? When is enough?
When it comes to messing with my family, when it comes to killing America, what do you think is happening exactly? I mean, he went through this whole thing in the beginning of this episode, but he seems to believe that teachers are transing 5-year-olds and all kinds of insane, unglued from reality shit. That's the complaint, apparently. Where do you draw the line?
Enough. There are other times lines are drawn as a challenge, calling us to join others, stepping out and over the line into the battle. The phrase, drawing a line in the sand, has its origin all the way back to 1836 and the Alamo. During the Texas Revolution, Texas was fighting to win independence from the evil Mexican dictator, General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, after which it would be invited to become the 28th state of the United States. Today, if you visit the Alamo, there's a statue honoring a Texas hero who tended his revolution. Colonel William Barrett Travis. The plaque reads, "Legend states that in 1836, Lieutenant Call, William Barrett Travis unsheathed his sword and drew a line on the ground before his battle-weary men, stating, 'Those prepared to give their lives in freedom's cause, come over to me.'" All but one or two of the Texas heroes joined Travis on the other side of the dirt line. They understood that freedom for their families and nation would come at a cost they were willing to pay. Whatever happened to them individually was worth it. Those are difficult words to swallow, but throughout history, that's what it often took for change to happen.
So you need to be willing to literally murder somebody if that's what it's going to take to quote-unquote save America. You have to be willing to literally kill somebody.
Though Mexico ultimately won the Alamo battle, 189 Texan defenders took out an estimated 1,600 of the enemy. It cost the Texans their lives, but it so depleted the Mexican army that it allowed the ultimate war to be won. Just weeks later, the Texans would win their independence at the Battle of San Jacinto. What happened at the Alamo became a rallying cry. Texan General Sam Houston reportedly motivated his troops at San Jacinto with the words, "Remember the Alamo." Whether drawing a line to take a stand against evil or stepping over a line into the battle, either way, drawing the line is all about freedom. There's always a risk and a cost. Throughout the Bible, God's faithful have drawn lines to take stands or step up into action. When they did, there was always a risk and a cost to pay, yet God always showed up in different ways that impacted change. Let's briefly look at a few to remember, like Sam Houston's troops remembered the Alamo. Who can forget the 3 Hebrew young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who served in Babylonian king...
And Abednego. Interesting mispronouncement. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I remember these stories, or this story from the Bible, where they refused to do what the leader wanted, or something like that, right? And the leader basically threw them in a fiery furnace, and they looked in and they saw a fourth person standing there with him, and Christians believe it was Jesus, even though Jesus didn't exist at the time.
Nebuchadnezzar II's court. Forget those Sunday school flannel board depictions. These guys were in their prime, probably 16 to 21 years old. Highly respected, they were the best looking, the most intelligent, and carried out duties in the palace, and were set over the affairs. Daniel 1 says they were. Now does line still be fine cod. Israelites from the royal family and the nobility. Young man without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. In every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king questioned them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. Daniel 1, 341,720 NIV.
Yeah, so I think it's converting like long verses to years instead by mistake. But the book of Daniel, yeah. The book of Daniel is fascinating in that it's like it's a quintessential example of apocalyptic literature. It's a genre, a style of writing that was common in Bible times.
In other words, these guys were the cream of the crop, who lived like and were treated like royalty. The one catch was, they served the one true God and knew to whom they belonged, and it wasn't King Nebuchadnezzar II. It's important to note that consistently throughout biblical history, God placed his servants smack in the middle of the world's kingdoms at key positions. Despite all the accolades and royal comforts, there was a line the three Hebrews would not cross, even if it meant losing their status and well-being, even their lives. There was a lot to lose if they took a stand, and staying safe would be easy. Just bow down. That's all. Nope, that was the line. They would die instead of bowing. The king didn't cheer their courage, like the culture today won't cheer ours. Refusing to bow, royally hacked the king off, and you know the rest of the story. Old King Neb heated up the fiery furnace 7 times hotter than usual, and tossed the 3 men in, while fully clothed in their robes and sandals and turbans. You can imagine just how hot that was if you've ever opened the Thanksgiving turkey oven and felt like your eyebrows and eyelashes just melted off. The king was making a statement. Most scholars believe the fiery furnace was likely some sort of humongous fire pit.
They do? I'm sorry, I don't believe you, but okay.
Regardless, it was hotter than hot, but the 3 Hebrews did.
I actually built in this feature that I'm calling analysis, and I have an analysis for each of these sentences, depending on, like... Hold on, let me just put a marker in so we don't forget where we are, the bookmark. And we'll come back in a second. I'm just trying to find a sentence with... It's supposed to be tracking the analyses. Oh, follow. There we go. Why isn't it? There it is. I finally found a sentence with the marker. This is guilt-tripping statement that presumptively dismisses any listener objections or personal circumstances, invalid excuses, pressuring compliance through shame. That's fascinating. All right, let's go back to where we were. Which is, I believe, right here. Yeah.
Regardless, it was hotter than hot, but the 3 Hebrews didn't burn. Instead, a 4th man, like the Son of God, Daniel 25:3 NKJV, showed up in the fire with them. He'll show up in the midst of our fires too. That's what God does, and he's going to do in America when we start drawing lines.
So God will protect you from consequences for your actions. If you are willing to destroy somebody, you know, kill them or destroy their house by burning it down or something like that, God will protect you, is the point. Fucking wild what these people are willing to say and do. I wish I had more time to read this, but actually I have to get going. I will be back on Sunday though, okay? All right, I'll talk to you guys